Chapter 621. Indeed, if Wang Feng wanted Tang San to live, he had to stay by Tang San's side and keep him alive. Wang Feng had to wait for his soul power to increase before he could fully recover Tang San. However, Wang Feng was speechless. Wang Feng swallowed hard. You've even thought about this? When I was in the Panas Palace, I thought about it, Xiao Wu whispered. If I'm really captured by humans one day, what should I do? If third brother is in danger one day, what should I do? I've thought about it for the past 5 years. I know that if I'm really in such a situation, I won't let third brother die, even if I have to sacrifice myself. There was a hint of rationality in Xiao Wu's voice. Wang Feng didn't expect the lively and carefree Xiao Wu to be able to say something like this. They weren't the only ones who had changed over the past 5 years. Xiao Wu had changed as well. So, Brother Feng, let me sacrifice myself. Xiao Wu gently caressed Tang San's cheek. Wang Feng thought about it and didn't try to dissuade her. He actually had another way, and that was to use the meteoric tear. Little 3 wouldn't die if he fused with the meteoric tear. However, Wang Feng felt that he wasn't that magnanimous. It was just like how little 3 wouldn't tell anyone about the Xiantian treasure record. Zhu Zhuqing was different. Wang Feng didn't have a choice when it came to Zhu Zhuqing. Furthermore, Wang Feng couldn't take the meteoric tear out of Zhu Zhuqing's body for the time being. It was useless even if he took it out and fused with it. There could be other accidents. Wang Feng didn't want to take it out until he was sure that nothing would happen to Zhu Zhuqing. More importantly, there might be a backlash after the fusion. Fusing with the meteoric tear into a true life origin was too advanced. Wang Feng couldn't understand it now, and he couldn't use it either. He would also lose many of the meteoric tear's original effects. Thinking of this, Wang Feng nodded his head and led the others further away. The energy undulations from a sacrifice were very strong. Captain, what's a sacrifice? Ma Hongjun couldn't help but ask. Also, what's going on? Who sent that title Douluo earlier? They were still in a state of confusion. Sacrifice is the most domineering ability of soul beasts. It's roughly equivalent to sacrificing one's life and soul. Wang Feng explained simply, soul masters can easily absorb 100,000-year soul ring when sacrificed by a soul beast. Furthermore, the soul ring will be of great help to the soul master as their rank increases. Everyone suddenly understood when they heard this. As for that title Dalu, he was naturally sent by the Martial Soul Hall. Wang Feng continued, we'll talk about the specifics after you leave the Star Doe Forest. At this time, the 2 divine beasts in the distance seemed to have finished fighting. The divine beast was covered in blood as it ran away. The 2 great Ming's combined efforts were not enough to kill the divine beast. After all, the situation with the starry 5-headed dragon was different. The starry 5-headed dragon had 3 of its heads chopped off by Wang Feng in the polar stillness domain, and its strength had been weakened by the 1,000-layered demon vanquishing domain. Coupled with the intimidation of the green lotus flag, the starry 5-headed dragon had been beaten to the brink of death by the 2 Ming brothers. However, at that time, the headless general divine beast had not suffered any injuries. At this moment, De Ming and Er Ming also arrived. In the distance, Xiao Wu had already begun her sacrifice. She gently placed a petal of the yearning, heartbroken grass in her mouth, and bright light enshrouded the 2 of them like a massive cocoon. Sigh, Xiao Wu still chose this path in the end. De Ming was situated on the ground in the distance. He had also sustained some injuries, and there was a hint of resignation in his voice. It was as if he had already anticipated this. Those 2 bastards are too despicable. And those humans too. I'm going to beat them up next time. Er Ming waved his staff through the air in an enraged manner. He had sustained severe injuries, and he had been at a disadvantage during his battle with the starry 5-headed dragon. During his battle with the starry 5-headed dragon, the starry 5-headed dragon had also sustained heavy injuries. Dai Mubai and the others were all rooted to the spot when they heard the 200,000-year-old soul beasts speak in human language. Several streaks of golden light fell upon the 2 soul beasts, and they quickly recovered from their injuries. I knew you weren't dead, Wang Feng. Er Ming roared as he looked at Wang Feng. It's a good thing you appeared just then. Otherwise, Big Brother and I wouldn't have been able to do anything about that human. Xiao Wu has already sacrificed herself, but we've already prepared Holy Spirit herb that can awaken her soul. Ming stabbed his staff into the ground and sat down on the ground. He looked at the red cocoon in the distance and scratched his head as he said, "It all depends on that Tang San brat. As for the other two conditions, I need a 10,000-year-old ninth-grade ginseng king that can reconstruct a human form and the inner core of an ancient soul beast." Wang Fengxi nodded. "You sure are well prepared. These conditions weren't actually difficult to fulfill. 10,000-year-old ninth-grade ginseng kings were quite rare, but Wang Feng could accelerate the ripening of a 10,000-year-old ginseng king that had yet to be plucked. Tang Sen already had the inner core of an ancient soul beast, and he had obtained the inner core of the 10-headed scorching sun snake on Hell Path. Also, we have to see if that brat can become a titled Douluo. As long as he can become a titled Douluo, he'll be able to completely revive Xiao Wu," Deming said in a slow voice. "All right, you guys stay here and protect them." Wang Feng thought for a moment before saying, "I still have something to do, so I'll take my leave first." Wang Feng was planning to go back and absorb the soul ring of the five-headed star dragon. "You're leaving just like that?" Everyone was stunned to hear this. However, Wang Feng didn't linger. He unfurled his soul-devouring blood wings and prepared to leave. "Wang Feng, wait." Zhu Zhuqing rushed over and stared blankly at him. Ahem, Zhuqing, there are some things that I'll tell you later." Wang Feng gently stroked Zhu Zhuqing's cheek. Zhu Zhuqing's face was stained with mud because she had been on the move, but it was still as fair and tender as ever, and it felt good to touch. At this time, because he was dressed as Jiu Kai and was wearing a mask, no one could see his face. "Yes, I know." Zhu Zhuqing's cheeks blushed slightly as she replied softly, "I know that you are him. My feelings can't be wrong, especially the feeling in my heart." Zhu Zhuqing felt that she might know something. She might be the only one who knew. This was because the feeling in her heart couldn't be wrong. When they were surrounded by the martial soul hall earlier, Zhu Zhuqing didn't believe Tang San when he said that the white-clothed Popediff was pretending to be Wang Feng. This was because the feeling that the white-clothed Popediff gave her was exactly the same as the feeling that the real Wang Feng gave her now. Anything could be disguised, but Zhu Zhuqing believed that this feeling couldn't be faked. This was the truth. There was a certain connection between the two meteoric tears. If they were too far apart, it might not be clear. End of chapter. Chapter 622. But at such a close distance, there was no mistaking that feeling. Therefore, Zhu Zhuqing knew something, but she didn't say anything. She didn't even ask. "Wang Feng, the Great Star Do Forest hasn't been peaceful recently. Be careful," Deming suddenly said. "These two soul beasts are so strong that even we can't defeat them." Wang Feng paused for a moment, then nodded. However, he thought to himself, "Don't tell me some powerful soul beasts have awakened in the Great Star Do Forest. More than 100,000 years?" Wang Fengxi's heart skipped a beat. That shouldn't be the case. Wang Feng didn't think too much about it. He used his soul-devouring blood wings to teleport back to where the five-headed star dragon was. The five-headed star dragon's soul ring was still there. Because Wang Feng reacted in time and went to the rescue very quickly, this trip did not take too long. In fact, with the soul ring and body of a 100,000-year soul beast, Wang Feng estimated that it wouldn't disappear even if he left it for a day. "It took a lot of effort, but I can finally absorb it," Wang Feng sighed. At the same time, a familiar voice sounded in his mind. "Congratulations on successfully obtaining the second half of the secret word Qian. You can now combine the entire secret word Qian. You will be rewarded with an additional 20,000-year soul ring age. You can add more. Hidden check-in location activated. Rakshasa Secret Realm. There are hidden rewards. If you give up, the next check-in location will be Sea God's Island. There will be additional rewards." Wang Fengxi's heart skipped a beat when he heard the system's voice. "Hidden check-in location? Can I give up?" Wang Feng took a deep breath. Wang Feng understood something about the Rakshasa Secret Realm. It must have something to do with a key person, BB Dawn. This hidden check-in location was activated by me. Wang Fengxin thought to himself. If I didn't use the green lotus flag, but revealed my identity and killed the two soul beasts with the help of Deming and Air Ming, wouldn't this hidden check-in location be activated? Wang Fengxin was a little excited when he thought of this. This meant that he didn't choose to reveal his identity. Using the green lotus flag to cover the retreat of the two groups was meaningful. It was the right gamble. If you want to clock in a Rakshasa mystic realm, Wang Fengxin thought slowly, then I have to gain Bibidon's trust. I don't think it's enough for BB Dawn to trust me. 100,000-year soul beast. Wang Feng took a deep breath. Unless I bring the first 100,000-year soul beast back. It seemed that the difficulty of this task was not ordinary. However, as long as he could do it, he would be able to discover Bibidon's greatest secret. The Rakshasa mystic realm should be the place of inheritance for the Rakshasa deity position, right? In other words, BB Dawn was already inheriting the godhood. No wonder she didn't do it herself. The system's special notification made Wang Feng decide what to do next. Unfortunately, the system didn't have the ability to let Wang Feng know the specific trust level of BB Dawn. However, this was enough. After all, Wang Feng was in a real world, and the other party was not an NPC. In that case, let's absorb this five-headed stellar dragon first. Wang Feng thought for a while. This was a true 100,000-year soul beast. It was a completely different concept compared to the ice dragon whale. Moreover, in terms of bloodline, the five-headed stellar dragon was not inferior at all. Wang Feng turned his palm, and the green lotus flag appeared. He sat cross-legged on the ground and guided the five-headed stellar dragon's huge soul ring with his soul power. The complete front secret word provides protection for spiritual cultivation. However, it is not possible to comprehend it in a short period of time. Right now, I've only comprehended a little bit of it and comprehended the cultivation method within. Strengthen the soul. Wang Fengxin thought. With the guidance of his soul power, the scarlet soul ring landed on Wang Feng's body. In an instant, a huge amount of soul power poured into Wang Feng's body like 10,000 streams returning to the sea. Wang Fengxin was shocked. Indeed, this was a completely different concept from absorbing a 90,000-year soul ring. Moreover, the direct 100,000-year soul ring was upgraded by the system and didn't have too many side effects. It was completely different from absorbing a 100,000-year soul ring. Fortunately, with Wang Feng's current physical fitness, he could still withstand the impact of this soul ring. What a strong consciousness! Wang Fengxin was shocked. He felt that the five-headed stellar dragon's consciousness still remained in this soul ring. As the soul power entered his mind, it let out a crazy roar. How strong was the consciousness of a 100,000-year soul beast? Furthermore, this five-headed stellar dragon was known for its spiritual power. Its illusion domain was a powerful spiritual attack. Naturally, this five-headed stellar dragon's consciousness was also very strong. At the same time, Wang Feng sensed the special abilities of the five-headed stellar dragon's five heads. The first head was the strongest one. It could unleash the illusion domain and had the strongest spiritual power. It was considered the main brain. Wang Feng didn't know that the second head had been chopped off. However, now that he was absorbing the soul ring, he knew that it had the ability to regenerate. As long as this head wasn't chopped off, the other heads could quickly grow out. After learning this, Wang Feng was a little relieved. Fortunately, this head with the ability to regenerate was chopped off in the two extremities static domain. Otherwise, this five-headed stellar dragon would be in big trouble. The third head was also one of the heads chopped off by Wang Feng. Its ability was control. Spiritual control could be attached to a domain. It could also be used on an enemy to carry out special spiritual control. It could cause the enemy's spirit to be shaken. The first three heads were chopped off by Wang Feng. Therefore, when the two extremities' static domain disappeared, the five-headed stellar dragon's domain also disappeared. Its strength was greatly reduced. The fourth and fifth heads were the two heads that had unleashed the two terrifying long-range attacks. Their abilities were similar. They had extremely strong destructive abilities. The energy fluctuations they emitted could destroy everything. If the two heads attacked the same enemy at the same time, they would cause terrifying damage. After learning about the five-headed stellar dragon's 5 heads, Wang Fengxin thought, no wonder Ming couldn't beat this bastard. It's definitely strong. The abilities of these 5 heads are quite strong. With a thought, 6 blood traces slowly rose from Wang Feng's body. The dark angel martial soul suddenly appeared in Wang Feng's sea of consciousness. 3 bright spiritual water droplets emitted a dazzling light. Wang Fengxin recited the first secret word. The spiritual water droplets started to emit intense light. Like a huge whirlpool, spiritual power started to condense crazily. The 5-headed stellar dragon's spiritual consciousness was extremely condensed. However, in front of the dark angel martial soul, it shrank. It didn't dare to move at all. In the end, it turned into white spiritual mist and was directly absorbed by Wang Feng. This 5-headed stellar dragon's spiritual power was extremely strong. Even though it was dead, its remnant soul in the soul ring was still an extremely powerful spiritual power. End of chapter. Chapter 623. Wang Feng used the dark angel martial soul that was almost complete to shock it, and then crazily absorbed it and turned it into spiritual water droplets. Slowly, the number of spiritual water droplets increased. From 3 droplets, it became 6 droplets, until it became 9 droplets. With so many droplets, it naturally formed a stream. The stream was about the size of thumb and was not long. Wang Feng looked into his body and saw that it was about the same size as the stream of urine. However, this was also a kind of change and not just spiritual water droplets. This spiritual water stream is getting bigger and bigger. It should be able to form a river, a lake, or even a sea. Wang Feng was quite happy that his spiritual power had increased again. Although Wang Feng did not have any spiritual power attack methods now, the increase in spiritual power meant that his soul would become stronger. There were naturally many benefits. The simplest one was that the power of the Xianming flying sword would definitely become stronger. At the same time, the increase in Wang Feng's spiritual power had a great effect on the emptiness realm. Vaguely, Wang Feng felt that if he combined the anterior secret word and emptiness realm, he might be able to form a completely new combat state. The anterior secret word was a mental and soul cultivation method. It also had the ability to predict. When it was practiced to great success, one could see the future and predict future events. But in fact, even if it was not practiced to great success, after comprehending and cultivating, one would also have a special sense of danger in battle. It could allow one to avoid the enemy's fatal attack in advance. Thinking of this, Wang Feng suddenly remembered that after Tang San and the martial spirit palace left, he stood in front of the 5-headed starry dragon. Why did he suddenly have a bad feeling? Because of this feeling, Wang Feng then thought of the BB Dawn and woke up. At the critical moment, he appeared in front of Tang San and the others. Otherwise, Xiao might have been taken away by now. Wang Feng guessed that this special bad feeling was most likely because he had practiced the front secret word. Otherwise, Wang Feng would not have such a feeling for no reason. Although it was just a feeling, if he did not have this bad feeling, Wang Feng would not have thought so much later, because the battle had already ended. The front secret word is still very strong. Wang Fengxin was secretly shocked. After all, this was one of the 9 esoteric arts of shrouding the heavens, a supreme secret technique created by a great emperor of an era. Wang Feng controlled the enormous amount of soul power from the 100,000-year soul ring after his spiritual power had been enhanced once more. He slowly strengthened his body before surging it into the 5 lotus leaves of the chaotic green lotus in his sea of consciousness. Because he had absorbed the 5-headed dragon's spiritual consciousness, Wang Feng's current spiritual power could barely control the enormous amount of soul power contained within this 100,000-year soul ring. The 5 element flags were transformed from 5 lotus leaves. At level 60, there was only one change. At this moment, as the soul power of the 100,000-year soul ring surged in, The remaining 4 lotus leaves started to shine with a bright luster. 5 different types of light instantly bloomed. The second lotus leaf and the third lotus leaf quietly transformed into a flaming flag and a white flag, respectively. Wang Fengguang guessed that these should be the floating flame flag and the white cloud-bound flag. They all had different uses. Wang Feng did not know the specifics. He would have to experiment to find out. However, as the 2 flags transformed, the remaining 2 lotus leaves were unable to transform. However, it was filled with light and looked like it was about to change. Maybe it's because of the level of my soul power. Is there a limit? Wang Feng furrowed his brows. I've used part of the 100,000-year soul ring to change its form, and the other part to increase my soul power. My current soul power is around rank 65. It seems that I'll need to increase my soul power rank to fully transform the remaining 2 flags. The 6th form of the innate 5-element flags was very special, which made Wang Feng unable to figure out for a while. Probably no one in the Douluo world could understand the situation. Only Wang Feng could slightly comprehend it. Even a master couldn't help him much on his path. The chaotic green lotus martial soul was the most mysterious. Wang Feng didn't know what special abilities would appear in each form. Moreover, I don't want to have any soul skills. Wang Feng was a little speechless. Could it be that the 5-element flags didn't completely appear? 100,000-year soul ring usually gives 2 soul skills, so at least one is given first. However, although there were no soul skills. However, these 3 flags seem to have gained different abilities because of the 5-headed dragon soul ring. Green flag, flame flag, cloud flag. In short, the ability of the green flag had obviously been used. It could remove the opponent's domain power, the effect of calming the mind, and it was an area effect. Although it was not a domain, this ability was not inferior to a domain. Wang Feng tried it. If he cultivated within the range of this green flag, the speed would be much faster. Moreover, the effect of calming the mind meant that it was difficult to have inner demons and make mistakes in cultivation. For example, those mental attacks were almost impossible to be effective. After fusing with the ability of the 5-headed dragon, a huge vitality would be born within the range of the green flag. It was one of the 5-headed dragon's regeneration ability. It could probably heal creatures within the range, but it could only heal lives. It was very suitable for group fights. It could only be used one by one with the Golden Lotus, which was much better, but its strength was definitely not comparable. The effect of the Flame Flag and the additional ability of the 5-headed dragon, Wang Feng wasn't too clear as he had never tried it. In ancient myths, it was said to be able to confuse yin and yang, reverse the 5 elements. It sounded very awesome, but if it was just a martial soul, Wang Feng guessed that it should be an anti-restraining ability. For example, wasn't Tang San's blue-silver grass immune to fire? If this flag was used, sorry, your fire would be extinguished. Also, the immunity to physical attacks and mental attacks, could it be directly removed? Or vice versa, other restraints could be directly removed. Of course, Wang Feng was just guessing. He would only know the specific situation after using it. After all, this was not a soul skill. After a soul skill was used, Wang Feng automatically knew what effect it had. But this was the ability of the 5-element flag itself, just like the previous forms. He needed to explore and experiment on his own. The white cloud boundary flag, which was the cloud flag, surprised Wang Feng. There was only a hazy space inside the flag, dense mist. Wang Feng vaguely felt that this flag was somewhat special, and he was afraid that it could carry living creatures inside. If that was the case, then it would be awesome. He would find time to go to the extreme north and take in his 4 underlings. Then he would fight a group fight. There might be other effects, but he would only know after experimenting. Wang Feng felt that most of his soul skills were to add statuses, all kinds of amplification, or weaken the enemy. There were actually quite few offensive soul skills. For example, his second soul skill, Ice Flame Furious Lotus. As for other soul skills, Deification, Soul-Devouring Blood Wings, Thorny Lotus, and even Universal Divine Light and Ice Reflection, they were all to amplify or weaken, or to add special attack statuses. If he really used them, they would all be ordinary attacks. End of this chapter. Chapter 624. Wang Feng added the soul-devouring blood wings to his fourth soul ring because of the 20,000-year soul ring given by the system. His fourth soul ring was the bloodthirsty dragon beetle's soul ring. It was originally only 60,000 years, but it was upgraded to 20,000 years in the Pope's palace and obtained a new ability to teleport. Now, it was upgraded to a 100,000-year soul ring, but it didn't have an additional soul skill. Instead, it strengthened the soul-devouring blood wings. It doubled the amplification and increased the distance of teleportation. This surprised Wang Feng. Of course, these were only soul skills. They didn't include the abilities of each form. The soul skills contained in the soul bones were the spirit seal plus siphon of the torso bone, which was a relatively powerful combination. The Dark Angel didn't have a soul ring attached to it. However, the power of the blood patterns and the original Sin's domain were cultivated. They were the amplification of abilities and the weakening of statuses in the domain. After the martial soul possession, the 6 pairs of wings would increase his speed and flying ability. He could be called a king in the sky. The 2 soul skills of the skull, hazy shadow and perception, were auxiliary-type soul skills and were very useful. Especially hazy shadow, which Wang Feng used most of the time. It was the same for perception. When he saw through the fake little Wu in the Starlight 5-headed dragon's illusion domain, he relied on perception. These 2 soul skills were mostly automatically released by Wang Feng. The mysterious underworld armor was called armor now, but it wasn't enough to describe the strength of this external soul bone. Pure soul skills only reflected damage and weakened defense. However, Wang Feng used the mysterious underworld spike to change its form. It was versatile and was Wang Feng's most commonly used ability. As for his self-created absolute wind lightning spear, the conditions to use it were more stringent. However, the 7-killing sword technique and sword intent could unleash extraordinary power when combined with the power of the blood patterns. At the top of the many abilities, the strongest was the Pangu axe that Wang Feng hadn't used for some time. Lonely. With Wang Feng's current rank 65 strength, he might be able to kill a 100,000-year soul beast with the Pangu axe. If I have the Pangu axe true body, can I kill gods? Wang Fengxin's heart jumped. He felt that this idea was a little exaggerated. However, it wasn't possible. With Wang Feng's current strength, he could use the Pangu axe normally, but only normally. If I go all out, I'll probably be able to compete with a rank 98 titled Dalu. Wang Feng pondered for a while. Although he was only at rank 65, he had 300,000-year soul rings and many other abilities, so there was no problem for him. However, actual combat was a different story. The appearance of the 5-element flags gave Wang Feng more means to deal with his enemies. However, he didn't have any soul skills at the moment. He would have to wait until all of the 5-element flags appeared. After absorbing the 100,000-year soul ring, Wang Fengxin's heart skipped a beat as he looked at the corpse in the distance. A 100,000-year soul beast would definitely have a soul explosion bone. As expected, a right thigh bone shining with a star-like luster appeared in Wang Feng's line of sight. Wang Feng only took half a day to absorb the soul ring. Now that it was done, his entire body felt refreshed. The right leg bone of the 100,000-year stellar 5-headed dragon. Wang Feng's eyes lit up. Without any hesitation, Wang Feng picked it up and began to absorb and refine it. Under the feet of the 5-headed starry dragon, there were traces similar to stars, which could be seen from the previous footprints. However, these traces couldn't be underestimated. According to what Wang Feng learned from the cowardly Kuan, these traces were one of the sources of the 5-headed starry dragon's strength. It was used to absorb the power of the stars and earth, and formed these traces. The further one cultivated, the more obvious these traces would be, and they would give the 5-headed starry dragon greater strength. The thigh bone wasn't big, and it was bright silver. The light it emitted was like stars in the night sky. Wang Feng's absorption speed was very fast. Around midnight, this thigh bone was completely formed. Under the dim moonlight, Wang Feng gently channeled his soul power, and this thigh bone appeared and attached itself to his right leg. The silver light was beautiful, and many stars shone on the streamlined thigh bone. 2 soul skills. Wang Feng took a deep breath. The strength of this thigh bone wasn't inferior to the bloodthirsty ice dragon's torso bone. Wang Feng fused the bloodthirsty ice dragon's torso bone with the cauldron of heaven and earth, so it was naturally a very strong 100,000-year soul bone. The first soul skill was called Star Cannon. It was a powerful destructive light cannon. It was a single target attack, and it was very powerful. Most importantly, it was instantaneous. However, it needed to be charged and could only fire 3 shots at a time. It could only be used again after it was fully charged. As it was a long-range single-target attack, its range was very small. However, Wang Feng estimated that its strength could severely injure and kill any soul master below the level of a transcendent Douluo. Furthermore, it was instantaneous, and it was very difficult for enemies to defend against it. Unless they defended in advance, they might not be able to defend against it. Its strength was much stronger than Wang Feng's mysterious underworld flying sword. It was strong in terms of the speed of a light cannon. It was too fast and too far. Wang Feng's flying sword wasn't as fast. As he lifted his leg, it was a light cannon. The second soul skill was called Star Core. It increased one's soul power by 100%. The greatest increase in soul power was naturally the increase in the strength of soul skills. It was equivalent to increasing the strength of soul skills by 50%. However, this Star Core was like a catalyst. It wasn't a passive skill, but was released together with other soul skills, causing their strength to increase. With the Star Cannon as an example, after obtaining a 50% increase in strength, it could basically kill any soul master below the level of a transcendent Douluo. It made up for Wang Feng's lack of long-range attacks. After all, Wang Feng was using the mysterious underworld flying sword now, and it was only a normal attack. Now that his spiritual power had increased, he couldn't kill a normal titled Dalu instantly. He would need a few more moves to be faster. The Ice Flame Furious Lotus was a long-range attack. With Wang Feng's current strength, it could cause damage to normal titled Douluo. However, it couldn't kill them instantly. The Ice Flame Furious Lotus might be able to, but it needed to accumulate power and wasn't instantaneous. If the other party sensed it, they would run away or defend. Furthermore, the Star Cannon's attack range was very far. It could reach up to 2,000 meters. With Wang Feng's spiritual power, once he locked onto the enemy, it was impossible to dodge. Wang Feng's mysterious underworld flying sword was about 1,000 meters. When it formed the spiritual water droplets earlier, the flying sword's attack range exceeded 100 meters. Every droplet increased its attack range by 50 to 100 meters. 1,000 meters was a bottleneck, and when it formed the spiritual stream, it broke through to 1,000 meters. I'm done resting. Wang Feng heaved a sigh of relief. It's time to hunt a 100,000-year soul beast. I'll choose that headless general divine beast. I can test the strength of my white cloud-bound flag and subdue that soul beast. After that, I'll put it inside and bring it back to the martial soul hall. I'll gain Bibidon's trust. You have to give me a clue about this, right? Let me know where the Rakshasa's secret realm is. P.S. It's a little late. There are still a few more chapters into this chapter. Chapter 6:25. Wang Feng knew that it wasn't going to be an easy task to earn Bibidon's trust. It could be said that both the soul hunt and the hunt for Xiao Wu had failed. Bibidon had been in charge of the soul hunt, so she could only blame herself for the failure. However, Wang Feng had been in charge of the hunt for Xiao Wu. Even though Wang Feng had saved the martial spirit hall, it was still going to be very difficult for Bibidon to trust him enough to tell him about the Rakshasa secret realm. In addition to his experience with Bibidon, Wang Feng felt that he would have to satisfy her with a 100,000-year soul beast if he wanted to earn Bibidon's trust. However, it would be extremely difficult to bring a 100,000-year soul beast back to the martial spirit hall. It was difficult to say if there was a second soul beast on the entire continent who could take human form like Xiao Wu. Normal 100,000-year soul beasts were all extremely large, and it would be even more difficult to force them to submit than to kill them. Taking them with him would be even more difficult. 100,000-year soul beasts weren't cabbages that could be easily picked up and carried away. The appearance of the White Cloud Realm flag had given Wang Feng the idea that if he could release a soul beast into the flag, then there really was a chance that he could bring a 100,000-year soul beast back. Wang Feng didn't want to capture another 100,000-year soul beast either. It would be best if it were an evil soul beast. Wang Feng wouldn't feel guilty if he captured one, and he could even help control the population of the soul beasts. The headless mythological beast was naturally the best choice. After that, Wang Feng began to search for the headless mythological beast in the Great Stardow Forest. As he searched, Wang Feng recalled Deming's warning. Soon, Wang Feng entered the core region of the Great Stardow Forest, and there was a layer of illusionary mist shrouding this place. The energy of heaven and earth has been blocked. Wang Fengxin's heart stirred slightly upon hearing this. Deming and Erming were situated in a lake, which was also part of the core region of the Great Stardow Forest. However, it seemed to be a little different from this place. The Great Stardow Forest was far too large, and even Deming and Erming didn't dare to claim that they knew everything about the forest. They were known as the kings of the forest and the emperors of the forest. However, this was a title that was spread among soul beasts. The soul beasts that truly entered the core regions of the forest were divided into different categories. There was no detailed explanation in the original work because it wasn't involved. For example, the extreme north didn't even have such a name. It was just a forest of ice and snow soul beasts. However, the core area was divided into 5 major areas, each occupied by 5 overlord-level existences. Perhaps the Great Stardow Forest had a similar division. It was just that it was not as obvious as that place in the far north. That headless general divine beast is extremely violent and ferocious. Even in the core region, it is considered an overlord. After entering the misty core region, Wang Feng's perception was greatly reduced. Moreover, the heaven and earth energy in this place was very thin, as if it had been absorbed. His soul power couldn't be replenished here. Found it. Wang Fengxin narrowed his eyes. The headless general divine beast's aura was actually very easy to find. After activating his dark angel martial soul, Wang Feng was extremely sensitive to violent and ferocious auras. Even though the misty core region could obstruct his skull's perception, it couldn't block his dark angel martial soul's ability to sense all kinds of emotions. About a few hundred meters away, the headless general divine beast was still in the distance. Wang Fengxin was about to charge forward and attack when he noticed that the headless general divine beast was growling. It seemed to be communicating in a special language. Wang Feng felt that it wasn't the language of soul beasts. There was a hint of fear in its growls. Did I discover something? The misty core region parted to reveal another huge soul beast in Wang Feng's line of sight. Wang Feng immediately saw the soul beast in front of the headless general divine beast. It was a pitch-black soul beast about the size of 3 people. It had 9 heads and 6 arms, and it looked like Neza from Wang Feng's memories. However, it had too many heads. Furthermore, this monster was a soul beast. It didn't look like a human's head. It looked like a snake's head with 9 heads. A 9-headed snake? Wang Fengxin was startled. It seems that my monster captain, Saul, is going to make a comeback. However, this 9-headed snake seemed to be very strong. It exuded an extremely evil and savage aura. Wang Feng could clearly sense it from more than 1,000 meters away. However, the misty core region blocked his perception. Coupled with Wang Feng's Shadama soul skill, he wasn't detected. Soon, the 9-headed snake roared at the headless general divine beast and disappeared. Only the headless general divine beast was left, pounding the ground and roaring angrily. Here's my chance. Wang Fengxin was moved. If the 2 soul beasts were here, he would be courting death. Although the headless general divine beast was severely injured, it still had its strength. The nine-headed snake seemed to be much stronger than the five-headed star dragon. After waiting for a while, when the nine-headed snake showed no signs of appearing, Wang Feng made his move. Without any hesitation, he suddenly jumped up and kicked out in the air. This place was very strange. At this time, the headless general divine beast was severely injured. Wang Feng didn't intend to use other abilities. The Pangu axe was too powerful. It would be bad if it attracted the headless general divine beast's attention. It was also a good opportunity for Wang Feng to test the power of the 100,000-year right leg bone. The right leg bone flashed. First, a walnut-sized crystal core appeared. Then, a beam of light shot out from the leg bone. When the beam of light hit the crystal core, it suddenly became 50% bigger and more powerful. Then, it bombarded the headless general divine beast. It was the leg bone's two soul skills, Star Core and Star Cannon. At this moment, the headless general divine beast was hit from 700 to 800 meters away. Its huge body was directly pierced through, leaving a huge hole. Too fast, too strong. The combination of these two skills increased the power in all aspects. Moreover, it was difficult to react to. Most importantly, because it was a single target skill, it didn't cause much of a disturbance. Then, Wang Feng activated his full strength and rushed over. He didn't use the soul-devouring Blood Wings teleportation because it was a long-distance teleportation. After being strengthened, it could cover a longer distance. It couldn't be used for short-distance teleportation. It could only be used to rush or escape. With Wang Feng's current strength, he arrived at the headless general divine beast's side in just a few seconds after eating the star cannon. At this moment, the headless general divine beast was lying on the ground with a huge hole in its body. It roared angrily. Swish! Wang Feng turned the green lotus flag in his hand. A green light shrouded the surroundings, preventing the headless general divine beast from releasing its domain. Don't be noisy. If you make any more noise, I will directly kill your head. Wang Feng frowned. End of chapter. Chapter 626. Hearing this, the divine beast immediately stopped roaring. Clearly, it had recognized Wang Feng. Human, what are you trying to do? Do you know where this is? The divine beast spoke in human language. Its voice was like a drum, and it was extremely ferocious. If you dare to walk in and kill me, you won't be able to walk out. I don't care where you are. Wang Feng narrowed his eyes. I won't kill you. I just need to take you away. Ha! The divine beast let out a loud laugh. You want to take me away? Do you think you can take me away? Do you think I will go with you? Its body was like a mountain, and Wang Feng felt like he was standing on top of a small hill when he stood on it. The lower abdomen that was pierced by the star cannon was like a big well, and black blood was flowing out. Wang Feng remained silent, and the white cloud-bound flag appeared in his hand. The innate five-element flags were one, and all of them could appear. It was different from the previous five, where only one could appear. Then, Wang Feng thought for a few seconds, and his palm directly sucked a drop of the divine beast's blood and dripped it on the white cloud-bound flag. In the next moment, the divine beast's body shook, and it seemed to have a connection with Wang Feng. Absorb! Wang Feng's mind moved, and white mist suddenly appeared from the white cloud-bound flag. It was like a giant vacuum cleaner, and it sucked in the giant beast. While sucking, Wang Feng realized that his spiritual power was being consumed rapidly. By the time the divine beast was completely absorbed, Wang Feng discovered that his spiritual stream had been depleted to the size of a pinky finger. Wang Feng was really shocked. The white cloud boundary flag could indeed suck in soul beasts, but the amount of spiritual power required to do so was a little ridiculous. He had already expended such a large amount of spiritual energy to deal with a severely injured divine beast general. If two more of them were to come, he would be directly sucked dry. Wang Fengxin secretly scolded himself for being too impatient. He should have found other weaker soul beasts to try first. It was fortunate that his mental strength had been greatly improved. Otherwise, he would have died from mental exhaustion after absorbing the energy. Cloud Flag's ability is indeed able to collect soul beasts. This place is equivalent to a mustard seed space. Wang Fengxin's heart stirred. As his soul power circulated, the white cloud-bound flag emitted a faint light, forming a layer of mist. Wang Fengxin could see through this layer of mist and see the scene inside. The divine beast was roaring angrily from within. "Human, let me out!" Wang Feng frowned slightly. Soon after, his mind moved. In an instant, the divine beast seemed to have been struck by lightning and stopped talking. Seeing this, Wang Fengxin was delighted. Although he couldn't control the life and death of the soul beasts inside the white cloud-bound flag, the flag didn't have that ability either. However, he could still sense the other party. Moreover, because he had fused with the five-headed stellar dragon's ability, he could use his mind to control this divine beast general. One of the abilities of the five-headed dragon was mental control, which could cause mental shock to the enemy. Evidently, Wang Feng could do the same to the soul beasts in the white cloud boundary flag. However, the prerequisite was that only the soul beasts in the white cloud boundary flag could be subjected to such a mind-controlling attack. This meant that as long as the soul beasts were sucked into the flag, Wang Feng could slowly control them. However, this required a lot of spiritual power. Very good. It's time to return to the martial soul hall. On the other side, Xiao Wu's sacrifice only lasted for a day, and Tang San had already recovered. Everyone stayed beside him for a day, including De Ming and Air Ming. What? You're saying that Captain came here 6 years ago to train with you too for half a year? Then could it be that the 40 or 60,000-year soul ring that Captain obtained was also yours? Did he kill it himself? You don't feel as strong as Captain right now. Dai Mubai and the others gathered around De Ming and Air Ming and chatted as they recounted what had happened in the past few years. From time to time, they would exclaim in surprise. That's a little unreasonable. No wonder Big Brother Feng pretended to be a six-ringed soul emperor when he came back 6 years ago to test us. He's ridiculously strong. Ma Hongjun suddenly said, "Why don't we train here for half a year as well?" His words instantly stunned a few of them. Air Ming bared his teeth, and a powerful gravity domain instantly enveloped them. "No problem. You're all Xiao Wu's friends, and I've heard from Xiao Wu over the past 5 years that if you want to train, I'm itching to do so." A flush appeared on Ma Hongjuan's face, and he instantly gave up on this idea. Ahem, if this fatso is willing to train with us, then let's just forget about it. Cold sweat was pouring down Dai Mubai's face. Asking them to train with a 100,000-year-old soul beast was simply asking for death. What? Are you scared now? Air Ming shook his head. To be honest, Wang Feng was only as powerful as he was when I beat him up. However, he really can take a beating. No matter how badly I beat him up the day before, he'll always be alive and kicking the next day. However, I most likely won't be able to beat him now. Everyone fell silent upon hearing this. The situation had been quite urgent, and they had been in a hazy state this entire time, but after some rest and recuperation, they were finally able to make sense of the situation. Now that they thought about it, Wang Feng was able to kill a titled Dalu after 5 years. What did this mean? That Phantom Dalu was no ordinary titled Dalu. He was terrifyingly powerful. Even so, he was completely unable to do anything to Wang Feng. And, in the end, he was incinerated into nothingness by those mysterious flames. In reality, they didn't know that the Phantom Dalu was still alive. At this moment, Tang San also slowly regained consciousness in the distance. Everyone hurriedly made their way over to him, and Air Ming also drew closer to him. There was also a little rabbit beside Tang San, and it was snuggling up to Tang San with an infatuated look in its eyes. After waking up, Tang San was very silent. He was aware of everything that had happened, and his consciousness had always been clear. Third brother. Ma Hongjun opened his mouth and wanted to tell Tang San everything that had just happened. "I know everything." Tang San gently picked up the little rabbit in his arms, and his voice was filled with determination. "There's no need to say anything. I'll quickly become a titled A red soul ring flashed over his body, exuding a burst of gentle energy that was filled with love for Xiao Wu. As a result, Tang San felt as if heaven and earth had been turned upside down. There was no doubt that a 100,000-year soul ring was extremely powerful, and this was a sacrifice. Sacrifice itself was a special ability, and it was completely different from a soul beast voluntarily giving its soul ring to a human. At the same time, a leg bone gently adhered itself to Tang San's leg. It really did belong to Xiao Wu. I'm sure you know the conditions for her resurrection, right? Erming asked in a grim voice. We've already found the holy soul herb, but your spiritual power isn't strong enough. Xiao Wu's body is still in perfect condition after absorbing the medicinal power of the yearning heartbroken red, and she still has you in her consciousness. As for the other two conditions, Wang Feng said that they're very easy to fulfill. All you have to do is become more powerful. If you can't become a titled Dalu, then there's no way Xiao Wu can be resurrected. End of chapter. Chapter 6:27. Tang San nodded solemnly. Brother Feng could accelerate the ripening of immortal herbs, and he had the inner core of an ancient spirit beast. These were all basic safeguards. Actually, you did very well back then, Deming said. Deming spoke in a calmer voice than Erming's. You've been waiting for an opportunity to leave this entire time. That person in white is very mysterious and powerful. You were able to escape with Xiao Wu and the others at that moment, and that was the best outcome. Deming had thought much more than Erming. At that time, the timing that Tang San grasped was indeed perfect. There was no better way to escape than at that moment. However, the five-headed star dragon was too violent, and it had blasted out two pillars of light in a row. Tang San hadn't expected that. Besides, that beast attack was very powerful. Neither you nor Xiao Wu would have survived that attack. Deming sighed. The fact that you were able to protect Xiao Wu in the end means that you were willing to die for her. Now that Xiao Wu has sacrificed herself to you, we won't blame you. Both Erming and I understand the relationship between the two of you. Do your best, child. You still have a long way to go, and your enemies are very powerful. Several days later, in the pontiff's palace. Slap! BB Dawn slammed the table and rose to her feet again. What? 400,000-year soul beasts? BB Dawn listened to the six-titled Douluo's report, and she was so shocked that she didn't know what to say. How could there be so many? These were 100,000-year soul beasts. She had only seen a few of them so far. She had expected that the infant soul beast in human form would be accompanied by other soul beasts of the same level. How could there be so many of them? From what we can tell, there are 200,000-year soul beasts that are related to that humanoid soul beast. The snake spear, Douluo replied. The king of the forest, the titan giant ape, and the emperor of the forest, the sky azure bull python, should be those two. The other two had extremely evil and savage auras, and they were no weaker than those two. When we arrived, the 400,000-year soul beasts were fighting. Hearing this, BB Dong fell silent. She hadn't expected the appearance of 400,000-year soul beasts, each stronger than the last. That human-shaped soul beast is very cunning. He lured the 400,000-year soul beasts over. The 1,000-June Doa coughed twice, and his face was a little pale as he said, "The domains of these 400,000-year soul beasts have trapped us to death. How did you escape unscathed?" Beside BB Dawn, the golden alligator Doa looked at the six of them. 400,000-year soul beasts. If he had been present, they might have been able to escape unscathed. However, with the strength of these six people, it was impossible for them to withstand 400,000-year-old beasts. The soul beast attack was powerful. Just the four domains alone were enough to make it difficult for them to retreat. It's Pope Tiff. There was a hint of respect in the 1,000-June Douluo's eyes. This trace of reverence made Bibidon's eyes light up slightly. So Lord Pope Tiff has a second martial soul. The Qianjun Douluo continued. Hearing this, BB Dawn was shocked. Twin martial souls? What's his second martial soul? It's a special kind of flag. The 1,000-June Douluo replied, After this flag appeared, it instantly removed the domains of the 300,000-year soul beasts. It calmed the rampaging soul power in our bodies, and also calmed our minds. This allowed us to retreat quickly. Furthermore, this flag seems to have a deterrent effect on soul beasts. He spoke of the scene he saw and the situation he sensed without holding anything back. The rest of the titled Douluo nodded. Flag? Remove domains? BB Dawn was a little shocked. Is there such a strong ability? This is the first time I've heard of such a martial soul. This should be a special kind of domain. It should be, because the flag covered a huge area. Suddenly, BB Dawn and the golden alligator Douluo fell silent. It seemed like Pope Diff was still hiding his strength. He hadn't revealed it yet. The two of them had never heard of such a strong martial soul before. Where is he? BB Dawn was silent for a moment before he asked. The failure of their plan was due to the 400,000-year soul beasts. They couldn't blame anyone else. It was already very rare for the martial soul hall that they hadn't been completely wiped out. Otherwise, the death of 6 titled Douluo and more than 30 high-level soul masters would have been a huge blow to the martial soul hall. Pope Tiff is... The 6 titled Douluo were speechless. Seeing that the 6 of them couldn't say anything, BB Dawn understood. He was definitely gone. Such a strong martial soul and frightening ability must have consumed a lot of his martial soul. He could only intimidate them temporarily, but he couldn't escape. That was impossible. Once he used up all his martial soul, the golden alligator wouldn't dare to say that he could escape from the 400,000-year soul beasts. No, he's not dead. He can't be dead. At this moment, Hulaina, who had been silent all this while, suddenly shouted furiously, "He was able to bring me out of Hell Road. It was so dangerous back then. He can't die this time." The Holy Lady's furious roar made the 6 titled even more silent. BB Dawn also sighed softly. He thought to himself, this Wang Wu is really a pure person. He's arrogant and strong. I can't feel any emotions. But once he's decided to do something, he'll never be disloyal. Such a person was too rare. BB Dawn had never seen such a person before. BB Dawn recalled what had happened after Nicholas Wang Wu joined them. He had carried out all his plans meticulously. Whether it was patrolling the entire continent or subduing the 4 sects, the 4 sects were now following the martial soul hall wholeheartedly, or the soul hunt that followed. Although the soul hunt had failed, Wang Wu had no choice. But there was nothing he could do about it. Wang Feng was still alive. This was his biggest mistake. But even so, the martial soul hall didn't suffer any losses after their plan was exposed. This soul hunt had also failed. It seemed like the heavens weren't on the martial soul hall's side. BB Dawn didn't know who to blame. No plan was perfect, but under the premise that both plans had failed, Pope Tiff Wang Wu could be said to have done everything he could to preserve the strength of the martial soul hall. It's a pity that Pope Tiff didn't appear earlier. BB Dawn sighed in his heart. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any 7 sects. At this moment, a red-robed cardinal suddenly rushed in from outside the hall and said in a trembling voice, "Your Highness, there's news from outside. Lord Pope Tiff has appeared." Once he said this, the entire hall fell silent. Hulaina rushed in front of this red-robed cardinal and asked loudly, "What did you say?" End of chapter. Chapter 628. The red-robed bishop took 2 deep breaths and hurriedly continued. Lord Pope Tiff has appeared. He sent someone to report that although the mission failed, he brought back a special gift for His Majesty. 10 days later, in the forest outside Martial Spirit City, he asked His Majesty and the elders to personally take a look. The news was sent by Lord Pope Tiff from the Martial Spirit Palace in the city closest to the Great Star Doe Forest. A gift? Everyone was stunned. It was already unbelievable that Pope Tiff could come back alive. What gift could he bring? However, Hulaina was pleasantly surprised when she heard this. She looked at BB Dawn. "Teacher, I knew he wouldn't die." Bibidon's eyes sparkled. He asked in a low voice, 10 days later? "All right, I'll wait for him." The rest of the titled Douluo were both shocked and confused. What was going on with Lord Pope Tiff? 10 days passed in a flash. On this day, BB Don led several titled Douluo out of the Martial Spirit Palace and into the forest outside Martial Spirit City. Everyone was a little agitated. Popetiff was not dead. This was too shocking. How did he survive? Those were 400,000-year soul beasts. And what was the gift? Along the way, even BB Don was curious and confused. Everyone came to the forest outside the Martial Spirit City with many emotions in their hearts. Wait, just as they entered the forest, BB Don was shocked. It's the aura of 100,000-year soul beast. The rest of the titled Douluo also discovered it. It was the aura of 100,000-year soul beast. Wait, it's a little familiar. Snake Spear and the other titled Douluo looked at each other. Your Majesty, it seems to be the aura of that headless soul beast. It was one of the 4 soul beasts that attacked us. How could it appear here? The forest outside Martial Spirit City had been cleaned. It was impossible for any powerful soul beast to exist, let alone 100,000-year soul beast. What was going on? Could it be related to Lord Popetiff? The 1,000 June Douluo suddenly said. Everyone stopped talking and quickly shuttled through the forest. Soon, after walking for 2 to 3 li, a clearing appeared in the woods. Then, a huge monster appeared in front of them. Logically speaking, the size of 100,000-year soul beast was extremely shocking. But what shocked him even more was that this 100,000-year soul beast had actually appeared in this place. This was the forest outside the Martial Spirit City. It really is that headless soul beast. The snake-speared Douluo exclaimed, "How is this possible? This place is so far away from the Great Star Do Forest. How did this bastard get here?" "It's the headless general divine beast." The golden alligator Douluo slowly said, "An extremely violent and ferocious soul beast has actually appeared here. This is truly unexpected. However, it doesn't seem to be able to move right now. It's still lying on the ground. It's rather strange. The strangest thing is, how did it get here?" The golden alligator Douluo was puzzled. He was very puzzled. 100,000-year soul beast was extremely intelligent, not inferior to a human. No matter how arrogant he was, he wouldn't dare to come all the way to Martial Spirit City. Was he simply courting death? It was just like how a titled Douluo wouldn't dare to enter the core region of the Great Star Do Forest. It was basically courting death. "All of you are Lord Popetiff." The snake's spear pointed at the headless general divine beast. Under its mountain-like body, there was a tiny human figure standing quietly in the distance with his hands behind his back. He was extremely charming. Because the headless general divine beast was too huge, and because they had sensed its aura the moment it arrived, everyone's attention was immediately drawn to the headless general divine beast. After hearing the snake's spear Douluo's words, they were jolted awake and looked at that figure. Bibidon's eyes flashed. She had seen immediately, but she felt that it was a little unrealistic. At this moment, he seemed to have sensed their arrival. The white-robed Pope slowly turned around and spoke in a calm voice. "Although I didn't bring back that small human-shaped soul beast, I did bring back this big one. I wonder if you're satisfied with it?" After hearing this, everyone was petrified. When they saw this scene, their hearts were in turmoil. BB Don revealed a smile on her face. It wasn't a cold smile, but a smile of admiration. Not only was she satisfied, but she was also pleasantly surprised. This surprise was second only to Bibidon's that. Many titled Douluo quickly walked over and surrounded this headless general divine beast to prevent anything from happening. However, they realized that this headless general divine beast was crawling behind Wang Feng and didn't move at all. This was because its spirit had been tortured and subdued by Wang Feng over the past 10 days. No matter how violent and ferocious it was, or how much it wanted to kill the human in front of it, there was nothing it could do, unless it could escape from the white cloud boundary flag. However, this was impossible. This was because Wang Feng had formed a connection with this monster. No matter how far it ran, Wang Feng could sense it clearly. "Wang Wu!" Hulaina exclaimed softly and ran toward Wang Feng. She didn't seem to care much about this 100,000-year soul beast. She only ran in front of Wang Feng and sized him up. She wanted to see if he was injured. BB Don also walked over. Her voice was gentle. Wang Wu, it seems like you surprised me again. However, how did you do it? According to the information they brought back, you... When Wang Feng heard this, he couldn't help but think that BB Dawn was indeed BB Dawn. Although she was surprised, she was still very rational. She first thought of her own situation. Evidently, she was suspicious and wary. The other titled Dalu were also stunned. Only then did they realize, I'm fine. However, did you all think I was dead? Although Wang Feng's tone was calm, it gave off an incomparably proud and aloof feeling when it entered one's ears. Many titled Dalu lowered their heads. When you retreated that day, the five-headed dragon launched 2 attacks in the direction of all of you and that human-shaped soul beast. Wang Feng looked at BB Dawn and told her all the excuses he had thought of. That Tang San and that human-shaped soul beast were severely injured because of that. It's very likely that the human-shaped soul beast was killed. BB Dawn nodded slightly. She knew this. At that time, everyone from the Martial Soul Hall was also attacked. Qian Jun, the demon subduing Doa, and the snake spear piercing dolphin Douluo, who still had some strength left, took the attack head-on. They weren't fully recovered even now. Even the titled Douluo were in such a state, let alone that Tang San and that human-shaped soul beast. Although that human-shaped soul beast was also a 100,000-year soul beast, it didn't have a 100,000-year cultivation after transforming into a human to cultivate again. However, so what? End of chapter. Chapter 629. At this moment. You mean that the death of that human-shaped soul beast angered the 200,000-year soul beasts, the Titan giant ape, and the sky azure bull python? Bibbiden's eyes flashed. Seeing that their companion was dead, the 2 soul beasts targeted the 5-headed dragon and the headless general? And you weren't their first target. That's right. Wang Feng nodded slightly. This BB Dawn was quite smart. I cut off 3 of the 5-headed dragon's heads, and it was severely injured. It was beaten to the brink of death by the 2 soul beasts, and then it chased after the headless general. I don't know what happened after that, but they must have fought. So, I was just exhausted at that time. The Phantom Douluo was definitely aware of this, as he had also gone after Tang San and Xiao Wu at the time. He must have seen it clearly. Wang Feng didn't hide much, because the ghost Daluo's soul avatar must have run back, and BB Dawn probably knew what happened after that. If he hid something, it would arouse Bibbiden's suspicion. When everyone heard that so many things happened after that, they were enlightened and didn't have any doubts. Because it made perfect sense. There was nothing suspicious. After the 2 soul beasts left, I recovered my strength where I was. After that, I spent some effort to kill the dying 5-headed starlight dragon. Wang Feng continued. Then I absorbed its 100,000-year soul ring, and my second martial soul gained power. Then Wang Feng summoned the white cloud-bound flag and sucked the headless general into it in front of everyone. This is my azure flag, martial soul. It gained the ability to absorb and store soul beasts. Then, I wanted to use this ability to see if I could bring back a soul beast. Later, after some searching, I found this headless general that was severely injured by the Titan giant ape and the sky azure bull python. I crippled it and brought it back. Wang Feng finished calmly, and his tone didn't fluctuate much. It was as if everything had happened very naturally. But everyone felt suffocated as they listened. Absorbing a 100,000-year soul ring and gaining a new ability? Finding an injured, headless divine beast and bringing it back? If it were any other titled Douluo, they wouldn't be able to do anything like this. At the same time, no one had any doubts. It was very simple, because absorbing a soul ring and gaining a new ability was real. Everything Wang Feng said was the truth. Even BB Dawn couldn't find anything suspicious. It was just that Wang Feng hid the uniqueness of the 5 flags. Wang Feng. Flags. After all, any martial soul that absorbed a 100,000-year soul ring would definitely undergo changes. If there were no changes, it would be easy to arouse suspicion. However, this ability can only absorb 100,000-year soul beasts for now, and it consumes a lot of energy. After walking for half a day, Wang Feng had to rest for half a day. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken 10 days to come back. All in all, Wang Feng's spiritual power was not enough, and this 100,000-year-soul beast was too strong. Good, BB Don praised. Although the plan failed this time, Wang Wu, the 100,000-year-soul beast you brought back, can be said to have made an outstanding contribution to the martial spirit palace. She felt that her appreciation for this Poptif Wang Wu had reached the peak. This was a person who could create miracles. Fortunately, this person was from their martial spirit palace. Thinking of this, BB Dong even felt a little lucky. Although Wang Feng missed it, it couldn't be recovered for long. But fortunately, the appearance of this Wang Wu made BB Don feel extremely gratified. The most important thing was the other party's loyalty to the martial spirit palace. To her, this was a 100,000-year soul beast. Wang Wu had the ability to collect this soul beast, so he could take it away directly, or he could come back without saying a word and keep it for his own use. But he still came back, and he even brought this 100,000-year soul beast back. Most importantly, Wang Wu said from the beginning that he wanted to bring back a 100,000-year soul beast, and it was a coincidence. What did this mean? This meant that Wang Wu, from the beginning to the end, wanted to complete the mission she gave him, and wanted to bring benefits to the martial spirit palace. His thinking was correct. This was a very important point. The key was that the other party really had the ability to do it. Although Wang Feng ruined my plan, he didn't expect it, right? BB Don sneered in her heart. The ghost Douluo came back. Although he was in a miserable state, with half his life and his cultivation gone, he still came back. Therefore, she naturally knew that Wang Feng had appeared. He even beat the ghost Douluo to the point of only having one life left. If not for this, the human-shaped soul beast would have appeared in the martial spirit palace now. When BB Don heard this news, she was so angry that her lungs exploded. No matter how she calculated and expected Wang Feng to appear, she never thought that Wang Feng's strength could even defeat the ghost Douluo. This made BB Don have a feeling. Since Don was born, why was Feng born? However, now, BB Don thought that if Wang Feng knew about this, he would probably sigh and say, since Feng was born, why was Wu born? Because the biggest beneficiary of this mission was still the martial spirit palace and Poptif. And according to the ghost Douluo's report, that Tang San was hit and was on the verge of death. The more she thought about it, the happier BB Don was. She felt that she hadn't been so happy for many years. The depression from Wang Feng's various ways of ruining her plan was swept away. She felt refreshed. The more BB Don looked at Wang Wu in front of her, the more satisfied she was. She couldn't help but look at Hulaina, who was next to her, and suddenly sighed in her heart. Nana is still not good enough for Wang Wu. Although Nana was the most talented child in the martial spirit palace and was her direct disciple, her appearance, wisdom, and talent were 1 in a million. But compared to Poptif, Wang Wu, she was still pale in comparison. This person's ability, wisdom, and thoughts were so perfect that BB Don couldn't say a word. All right, we can't let Lord Poptif take care of this 100,000-year-soul beast for a long time. It's a burden for him. BB Don looked at this 100,000-year-soul beast, and a strange light flashed in her eyes. How about this, Qianjun's subduing demon? The two of you guard it at all times, and trap it behind the mountain of the Pope's palace. Don't let anyone enter. Wang Wu, come with me. I have something important to tell you. Wang Feng's heart skipped a beat when he heard this. It seems like BB Don is going to tell me about the Rakshasa secret realm. P.S. There are 5 more updates tonight. Thank you to the leader of the Balloon Shooting Tonight book. End of chapter. Chapter 630. The secret of becoming a god, compared to Bai Dong, was definitely the most deeply hidden. A place like the Rakshasa secret realm should be a place similar to the Sea God's Island. Although a 100,000-year-soul beast was precious, Wang Feng had no use for it now. He didn't know how long he would have to wait. Furthermore, keeping the divine beast in the white cloud boundary flag was also a form of consumption of his spiritual power. Thinking of how he could keep his 4 underlings inside and release them when fighting, Wang Feng estimated that his spiritual power would only be possible if it could evolve into a real stream or even a river. The consumption of spiritual power was related to the strength of the living beings stored inside. However, the white cloud boundary flag had another function, which was to establish a connection with the living beings inside. On the way here, Wang Feng had released that bastard, the divine beast, once, but that guy had run away. After that, Wang Feng easily sensed its location. He could even transmit his thoughts to the other party so that the other party could sense it clearly. After much consideration, Wang Feng didn't feel much about giving the 100,000-year soul beast to Bibidon. On the contrary, even if Bibidon didn't have this 100,000-year soul beast, he would definitely hunt others. Bibidon brought Wang Feng back to the Pope's palace. A powerful soul power fluctuation bloomed in the void and enveloped the two of them. It isolated everything. This was also the second time Wang Feng felt Bibidon's aura. Powerful. It was at least the aura of a level 98 titled Douluo. Vaguely, there was also a trace of a strange aura that made Wang Feng's heart palpitate. Wang Feng had never felt such an aura before. It's the aura of a god. Wang Feng's pupils shrank slightly. Indeed, Bibidon should have started inheriting the Rakshasa deity position long ago. However, Wang Feng knew that Bibidon didn't want to kill him. With his current strength, Bibidon couldn't kill him instantly. At most, he could defeat him. It should be to prevent any leakage of information between the two of them. That was why this soul power barrier was released. Wang Wu, your ability is far beyond my imagination, Bibidon said slowly. She carried Wang Feng and walked 2 steps. Her luxurious white and gold robe fluttered gently, and the tricolored gemstones on her body shone with a noble luster. The purple-gold crown on his head gave off an aura of majesty. His calm tone had a hint of praise. Do you know what is above a rank 99 title Dalu? Bibidon turned around and looked at Wang Feng with a smile on his face. It's level 100, Wang Feng said. Bibidon nodded. That's right, level 100. However, there are no rank 100 title Douluo in our world. There were no rank 100 title Douluo on the Douluo continent. Some of them had basically become gods and would no longer stay on the continent. That's probably because I haven't been born yet, Wang Feng continued. Once I'm here, I'll reach level 100. When Bibidon heard this, he was stunned and could not help but laugh a few times. I forgot that you've been cultivating in the extreme north all this time. You don't know much about the secrets of this world. Bibidon shook his head slightly. However, this Wang Wu was indeed arrogant to the extreme. This kind of arrogance was a kind of arrogance that carried a strong self-confidence. What are you trying to say? Wang Feng asked as if he knew nothing. Bibidon did not answer this question. Instead, he said directly, we mortals can't cultivate to level 100. The strongest title Douluo in this world is a rank 99 title Douluo. They are called ultimate Douluo, meaning that they are the limit of title Douluo. Therefore, there are no rank 100 title Douluo. Wang Feng was silent. Of course, he knew that a rank 100 title Douluo meant that he was a god. He had surpassed the limit of title Douluo. Perhaps he could not completely say that he was a god, because even the gods in the Douluo world seemed to be divided into different levels. However, the rank 100 title Douluo meant that he was at least half a step into the realm of gods. As for what it was like, Wang Feng did not know. This was only Wang Feng's understanding of the original Douluo. But in fact, it's not impossible for us to reach level 100. Bibidon continued. Oh, Wang Feng revealed a rare hint of doubt. In this world, there are gods. Bibidon said indifferently. Gods don't live in our world. They are higher than us and have the power to control everything in the world. There's only one way to reach level 100, and that is to inherit the power they left in our world, known as the God's Inheritance. The condition to obtain the God's Inheritance is to become a titled Dalu. The gods are high and mighty, and they will also choose the most outstanding among us humans as their successors. As long as we can pass their test, we will be able to surpass level 99 and become level 100 gods. Wang Fengxin's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that BB Don was indeed planning to reveal some things about the Rakshasa secret realm to him. Although Wang Feng had not read the last part of the original story, he knew that BB Don inherited the Rakshasa deity position. The Rakshasa deity was an extremely evil god, a natural-born villain. Thinking of this, Wang Fengxin could not help but be moved. The Dark Angel martial soul was also an extremely evil martial soul. But this kind of evil was pure, and it was an evil that controlled the 7 original emotions of all living beings. Qian Rinxue's 6-winged angel corresponded to the angel deity position. In the Douluo's world, there was a divine realm, and it seemed that there were many gods. As for which ones, Wang Feng was not sure. Was there any deity position related to the Dark Angel? There should not be. I see. Wang Feng nodded. I wonder how powerful the gods are. Gods. Perhaps. Wang Feng felt that if he became a titled Douluo, he should be able to defeat them. Perhaps it was not possible. Wang Feng was not sure what level of power the gods were at. Of course, the power of the gods is strong. Bibidin's body suddenly shook, and 9 soul rings rose from her body. Wang Feng had seen Bibidin's soul rings once before, when they were in the Pope's palace. At that time, there were 2 yellow, 2 purple for black, and 1 red. But now, there was 1 yellow, 3 purple for black, and 1 red. The age of the soul rings had increased. Don't underestimate the transformation of a 100-year soul ring into a 1,000-year soul ring. There was no normal way to upgrade a soul ring. Unlike Wang Feng, whose extra reward for punching in was to increase the age of his soul rings. At this moment, Wang Feng also saw one of Bibidin's martial souls, the Death Spider Emperor. Logically speaking, it was not very good-looking, but it was not ugly either. But its aura was indeed very strong, the aura of a top-notch martial soul. Sometimes Wang Feng thought that when BB Don was young, she should have been extremely beautiful. How could she have such a martial soul? There were thousands of evil martial souls. How could it be a spider? End of this chapter. Chapter 631. You have extraordinary potential. BB Don said lightly. I think even the gods will choose you as an excellent successor. The meaning of Bibidin's words was actually very obvious. I have the qualifications to inherit this kind of power. I think highly of you. If you follow me, I can also take you to inherit the power of the gods. However, why must we inherit other people's things? Wang Feng suddenly asked. Hearing this, BB Don was stunned. For a moment, she did not know how to answer. If we mortals can only inherit the power of the gods and surpass the limit of the world's power, what's the point? What's the point? Wang Feng continued. Also, how did the first generation of gods come to be? Were they born directly from the beginning of the world? Or did they come from cultivation? If they also came from cultivation, does it mean that we can also cultivate to become gods? After saying this, BB Don suddenly froze, because she did not know how to answer. Wang Wu's question had obviously exceeded Bibidin's own understanding. Yes, how did the first generation of gods come to be? Were they born automatically? Or did they come from cultivation? Even if they were born automatically, couldn't they cultivate to become gods by themselves? Looking at Bibidin's stunned expression, Wang Feng was also stunned. Cold sweat suddenly flowed out of his heart. He was just saying this casually. Looking at Bibidin's expression, could it be that she really wanted to cultivate to become a god? Create a god position by herself? Who was BB Don? Wang Feng thought about the original work. If there was no Tang San, it would not be an exaggeration to say that she was the #1 genius in the original work. If she really wanted to create a god position by herself, it was not impossible. The premise was that someone had to open this window for her. I think I said something incredible. Wang Fengxi muttered. BB Don might not know about cultivating to become a god. In her memory, there was only one possibility of inheriting the god's inheritance and becoming a god. Should I kill her? Wang Fengxin thought. However, I don't think I can kill her. Now, Bibidon already has the aura of a deity. I don't think I can defeat her. If I activate the Pangu axe, there might be a slight possibility. But I will definitely die. However, at this moment, Bibidong suddenly laughed. Her laughter was crisp and pleasant to the ears, giving off the feeling of a smile that could topple a city. However, Wang Feng felt his blood run cold. Wang Wu, you're truly a peerless genius. Bibidong sighed in admiration. Perhaps only someone like you, who doesn't know anything, would have such an idea. You know what? When I first heard this idea, I felt that it was ridiculous, childish, and ignorant. But when I think about it again, I feel that I'm ridiculous, ignorant, and childish. Wang Feng, I've never heard of anyone being able to cultivate to godhood on their own, and I've never thought that it was possible. Bibidong raised his head and looked at the top. But your words have opened my eyes to a whole new world. Perhaps this is really possible? Wang Feng, Wang Wu, you will go to the Heaven Do Empire next. Help me observe a person in secret, Xue Qinghe. Bibidong suddenly looked at Wang Feng. You might not know what happened after that day, when you absorbed the five-headed dragon. I also secretly sent another person to capture that human-shaped soul beast. But do you know what happened? Fail. Wang Fengxian's heart skipped a beat. He didn't expect Bibidong to even tell him about this. That's right. Bibidong nodded. The person I sent is one of my confidants. He is also a titled Dalu, rank 96. But he has the ability to kill a rank 97 titled Dalu. I didn't use him during the soul hunting mission, but during this beast hunting mission, I secretly sent him to follow you all to prevent any mistakes. I'm worried about that Wang Feng, Wang Feng said. Yes, it's that Wang Feng, Bibidong said in a low voice. But I didn't expect him to be so strong. Spectre caught up with Tang San and the others who were escaping. Just as you expected, one of them was dying. It was that Tang San. But that human-shaped soul beast wanted to sacrifice himself to save that Tang San. Originally, with Spectre's strength, she should have been able to bring the human-shaped soul beast back. However, Wang Feng had rushed out and almost killed Spectre. 5 years ago, he could only fight to a draw with 2 titled Douluo. But now, he can even kill a rank 96 titled Douluo. And he's a special titled Douluo like Spectre. Then he's really very strong. Wang Feng nodded and said in agreement. This kid's appearance is very likely to affect my subsequent plans. Bibidong said in a low voice. I'm in a special situation now, so I can't do anything for now. I need you to do something for me. Go to the Heaven Do Empire and secretly observe Xue Qinghe and Tang San. It's best if you can help Xue Qinghe ascend to the throne of Heaven Do. Whether you succeed or not, I'll take you to a place when you return to the Pontiff's Palace in 3 months. It's a place where you can inherit the position of God. You'll be able to experience the power of God. A smile suddenly appeared on Bibidon's face. If you want to directly become a god, you have to at least understand the power of God. Wang Feng. Also, I'll announce your death to the public. Bibidon's eyes flashed. After all, you resisted the domains of 400,000-year-soul beasts in a row. It's normal for you to explode and die. At the time, the Titan giant ape and sky azure bull python were chasing after the human-shaped soul beast. Naturally, they didn't know about your situation. So, your name as white-robed Popetiff will temporarily disappear. When you go to the Heaven Do Empire, don't let anyone discover you. It's best if even I don't discover you. That way, it'll be even harder for the enemy to discover you. Bibidong said, but the necessary contact still needs to be maintained. If you succeed in helping Xue Qinghe become the Heaven Do Emperor, I can promise you one more thing. As long as I can do it, Bibidong. Wang Feng was completely aware of Bibidon's plan. This was to make him disappear from the eyes of the world and secretly help Qian Rinxue to establish a connection with the Heaven Do Empire. Wang Feng couldn't help but admire Bibidon's wisdom, especially the announcement of his death. This could completely make Tang San and the others relax their vigilance. They would even think that the Martial Spirit Palace had suffered a double loss. They would paralyze the enemy. Then they would send him, Popetiff, to secretly help Qian Rinxue. Bibidong is too smart. If not, I'll just take the risk and directly eliminate him. Wang Fengxian thought. Otherwise, I feel that Xiao San won't be able to defeat him, but it was just a thought. Wang Feng didn't have the slightest confidence to do so. Also, Tang San will be a threat in the future. Bibidan's expression was somewhat cold. That human-shaped soul beast must have been sacrificed to him. He's only over rank 60, but he already has a 100,000-year soul ring, and it's a sacrifice. With this kind of potential, he'll definitely be a great enemy in the future. But there's no hurry. Let him grow for a while. Compared to Wang Feng, this Tang San is nothing. I'll keep him for later use. End of chapter. Chapter 632. Wang Fengxian sighed. At this moment, Bibidan emitted a faint aura of an emperor, as if she was in control of everything. But she did have this ability. Every time Wang Feng looked at Bibidan, he felt like he was looking at an empress. Wave after wave of plans, as if she always had a trick up her sleeve. Was it time for this undercover job to end? Wang Fengxian thought, why don't I not go to the Rakshasa's secret realm? But he was a little unwilling. After all, he had already done so much. Forget it. Let nature take its course. Bibidan had pretty much told him all her secrets. Is Shueqinghe also a member of our martial spirit hall? Wang Feng pretended not to know anything and asked. You will know when you go. Bibidan didn't seem to want to talk about it and frowned. Also, whether you can do it or not, your life is the most important thing. Hearing this, Wang Feng fell silent. The meaning of these words was obvious. Even if Shueqinghe couldn't become the emperor, Wang Wu couldn't die either. Obviously, Bibidan already regarded Wang Wu's life as more important than this plan. You and I know about this plan, Bibidan finally said. Even those titled Dalu and Nana won't know. Wang Feng nodded. Bibidan obviously had some suspicions that there was a spy or something like that. It was time to leave the martial spirit hall and return to Heaven Do City. As for the Rakshasa's secret realm, he could only wait and see. Wang Feng left from the back of the martial spirit hall silently. Looking at Wang Feng's back, Bibidan sighed and regretted. It seemed to be regretful that he didn't join the martial spirit hall earlier. A few days later, the martial spirit hall announced that the newly appointed white-clothed Popetiff, who had been in office for less than a year, had unexpectedly died in the Great Star Do Forest. The white-clothed Popetiff had entered the Great Star Do Forest alone and failed to kill a 100,000-year-soul beast, resulting in his death. His Majesty the Pope personally prayed for his burial and made all the martial spirit halls in the continent pay their respects. At this point, the two empires, several large sects, and various forces were shocked. Outside Heaven Do City, Tang San and the others had just returned from the Great Star Do Forest. They heard the news before they even entered the city. For a moment, everyone was shocked. Good death. Ma Hongjun laughed and said, this white-robed Popetiff actually dared to pretend to be the captain. He died a wonderful death. Martial Spirit Palace is really something. Oscar shook his head. They're clearly here to capture Xiao Wu, yet they claim to have killed a 100,000-year-soul beast. They don't seem to care and are just telling the truth. Although they didn't know what had happened later on, they still didn't know. However, over the past few days, Tang San had told them about the situation back then in full detail. By the way, Lil 3, according to what you said, this white Popetiff used a flag to block the 4 domains? Dai Mubai suddenly thought, is that also a type of martial spirit? What kind of martial soul can withstand the domain of a 100,000-year-soul beast? Tang San was silent for a moment and said, I don't know. But if it wasn't for him, Xiao Wu and I wouldn't have had a chance to escape. However, that mysterious flag, martial soul, could make the 4 domains disappear instantly. It's really too powerful. He might not have been able to survive after using it. Tang San still remembered that green flag. How terrifying was its power? That was the domain of a 100,000-year-soul beast, and it was directly destroyed. Although he reacted quickly at that time and ran away with Xiao Wu. In fact, he was also shocked by the strength of the white-robed Popetiff. Twin martial spirits. Fortunately, he was already dead. The news from the Martial Spirit Palace couldn't be false because no one could survive in the situation at that time. Tang San inexplicably heaved a sigh of relief. The pressure brought by this white-robed popediff was really too great. Only Zhu Zhuqing seemed to be a little silent. No one knew what she was thinking. I don't know when the captain will come back. Ma Hongjun thought for a moment. I don't know how he survived these past 5 years. He was able to survive that kind of situation back then. It's really terrifying. The group of people returned to Shrek Academy. However, they found that the atmosphere in the academy was a little strange and very tense. This tension was reflected in all aspects. For example, there were more cultivation academies and more students fighting in the square. Everyone's face was tense. Ma Hongjun grabbed a student and asked, "Junior, what's going on? Are you a fatty? I don't want to talk to you." The student frowned and shook off Ma Hongjun's hand. Ma Hongjun was furious. "What's wrong with a fatty? Did he eat your ice? You should be burly now, not fat." Dai Mubai hurriedly grabbed the student and coughed a few times. "Junior, did something happen among the students?" Dai Mubai discovered a few special students. For example, a few students had the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Martial Soul. One had to know that the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Martial Soul would only appear in the direct descendants of the Blue Lightning Tyrant clan. Even the Thunder Academy, which was supported by the Blue Lightning Tyrant clan, was one of the 4 great elemental academies of the Heaven Do Empire. There were very few students with the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Martial Soul. Not only that, but there were also a few students with the 7 Treasures Glazed Pagoda Martial Soul. These students were only direct descendants of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect. How could these disciples be in Shrek Academy? Even with the current reputation of Shrek Academy, it was impossible for these direct descendants of the 3 upper sects to join willingly. The sects behind them would not agree either. In the distance, a delicate voice sounded. "All of you run faster. This is how I trained back then." This voice was clearly very gentle, but at this moment, it was abnormally cold and very strange. Everyone looked over and saw Ning Rongrong with her hands on her hips, looking at a group of 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect disciples running around the field. Each disciple was carrying a heavy stone. It was very similar to the days when they trained in Shrek Academy. In the past, I was not in the mood to care about you guys. But now that the Martial Spirit Palace has come knocking on our door, who knows when the Martial Spirit Palace will come again? You guys are all too weak. On the battlefield, you can't even outrun me. What's the use of having such a powerful support? Ning Rongrong's beautiful face was cold. After entering this Shrek Academy, there are too many people now. The teachers can't manage them all, so I'll personally train you guys. Tang San and the others. However, they seem to have understood the meaning behind Ning Rongrong's words. The Martial Spirit Palace made a move against the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect. The few of them looked at each other, feeling a little confused for a moment. You guys can't be Shrek's 7 monsters, right? At this moment, the student who was caught by Dai Mubai said in surprise, "I'm from the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect. It seems like you guys just came back from outside and don't know the details." In a chapter. Chapter 633. This student then told them about the Martial Spirit Palace's attack on the Blue Lightning Overlord sect and the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect. After hearing that, they were all shocked. They didn't expect the Martial Spirit Palace to launch such an attack. After saying that, he left. "Sorry, I still have to train. You can ask for the details yourselves. Senior Ning has been working very hard recently. You can go and ask her." Seeing this, Tang San and the others fell silent. If they remembered correctly, the white-clothed popediff who pretended to be Wang Feng seemed to have gone to the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect with Ning Rongrong. Now that they thought about it, the other party probably wanted to use this opportunity to infiltrate the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect and cooperate with them to take down the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect in one fell swoop. Thinking of this, everyone felt a chill in their hearts. They couldn't help but look at Ning Rongrong. "Little San, you're back." At this moment, a familiar voice sounded. They turned around and saw the master, Lu Erlong, and several other teachers walking over. "Teacher," they hurriedly shouted. "We heard about the white-clothed popediff. Are you all okay in the Great Star Doe Forest? The master and the others walked over and asked in a low voice. The white-clothed Popetiff killed a 100,000-year soul beast. Others might not know the secret behind it, but they could naturally guess that the martial spirit palace must have sent the white-clothed Popetiff to hunt Xiao Wu and probably brought a lot of people with him. After all, they knew Xiao Wu's identity. So Tang San and the others must have encountered it. The situation is very complicated. Tang San stroked the little rabbit in his arms. We didn't expect so many things to happen here. Thinking of this, Tang San and the others told them what happened in the Great Star Doe Forest. After listening, the master and the others were stunned, because there were too many twists and turns. The martial spirit palace had 7 titled Dalu, white-clothed Popetiff, and 4 100,000-year soul beasts. In that case, this little rabbit is... Lu Erlong looked at the little rabbit in Tang San's arms and trembled. With tears in her eyes, she shouted angrily, "Martial Spirit Palace, bastards! I won't forgive you." The master patted Lu Erlong's shoulder gently. Because the two of them had obtained the recognition of their families, it could be said that they had broken through the last layer of their relationship. Before he could be happy for too long, the situation of the Martial Spirit Palace became more and more serious. On the other hand, Xiao Wu sacrificed herself. As Xiao Wu's godmother, Lu Erlong was naturally heartbroken. The Martial Spirit Palace is really cunning. Flinders snorted coldly. First, they sent white-robed Popetiff to disguise as Wang Feng, wanting to annihilate the 2 great sects in one fell swoop. Then, they used you to find little Wu and launched an attack. But in the end, he still died in the Great Star Doe Forest. I have to take revenge. BB Don, this woman is too crazy and ruthless. Lu Erlong glanced at the master, her eyes flashing with coldness. For the sake of your goals, you're willing to do anything. The master didn't speak. By the way, you said that it was Lin Feng who appeared in the end and saved you? Zhao Wuji was surprised. Tang San and the others nodded. Then it seems that it's really thanks to Lin Feng. Zhao Wuji couldn't help but shake his head. On the night of the 7-treasure glazed tile sect, if Lin Feng hadn't sent a message to Sect Master Ning in advance and pointed out that White Robe Popetiff was a fake, I'm afraid that the 2 great sects would have been destroyed by now. I didn't expect him to be here all the time. Hearing this, Tang San and the others were startled. I suspect that Lin Feng came on the day you agreed on, the master suddenly said. The master's words made everyone a little surprised. Since he came, why didn't he directly recognize him? Give that white robe Popetiff a chance. Ma Hongjun couldn't help but ask. It's very simple. Because he found out that someone was pretending to be him. With Lin Feng's intelligence, of course, he wouldn't expose it at the first time. After guessing, he must have found that this person was very likely to be from the Martial Spirit Palace. Because the Martial Spirit Palace and Tang San have a grudge against each other. The master explained. After Lin Feng found out this, he was in no hurry to expose it first. Since the Martial Spirit Palace sent someone to pretend to be him, they must have other purposes. Only by exposing it at the critical moment could the Martial Spirit Palace's plan be destroyed in one fell swoop. Lin Feng is smart. Hongjun, think about it. If he exposed it in advance, the Martial Spirit Palace would definitely change their plan and repeat the same mistake, causing the 2 great sects to be tragically attacked. Hearing this, Ma Hongjun suddenly understood. The others also figured it out. So, is that why there are so many disciples from the 2 great sects? Dai Mubai asked. Flinder nodded and said, yes. Now the 2 great sects have joined forces and sent some of their direct disciples to the Shrek Academy for training. The royal family also sent many elite disciples to the Shrek Academy for training. They plan to work together to fight against it. Prince Xue Qinghe even came in person. The 2 great sects joined forces. The combined strength of these 2 forces couldn't be underestimated. It's just that Rongrong has suffered a lot. Lu Erlong looked at Ning Rongrong, who was still reprimanding the disciples of the 7-treasure glazed tile sect. Rongrong thought that the other party was the real Wang Feng, so she happily brought the fake Wang Feng back to the sect, only to find that the fake Wang Feng almost destroyed the sect. That kind of disappointment, everyone fell silent. This kind of disappointment would be a great blow to people. So this kid is trying to numb himself in this way, so that he won't feel terrible when he thinks about it. Lu Erlong gently stroked the rabbit's soft hair. When he's angry, he won't eat for 2 days. We can't persuade him. Even his father can't persuade him. Let's go and persuade him, Zhu Zhuqing said in a low voice. In comparison, Zhu Zhuqing felt better. Tang San and the others walked over. Seeing Tang San and the others come back, Ning Rongrong's cold face softened a little, especially when she saw Xiao Wu, who was in a daze. Rongrong, don't worry about your health. Ma Hongjun said. Nothing happened to the captain. He's been hiding in the dark all this time, and he even saved us in the Great Stardow Forest. He's fine, and now the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect is fine too. Isn't that great? Most importantly, that white Popetiff is dead. You should be happy. Ning Rongrong didn't say anything. Are you blaming the captain? Oscar thought for a moment. No, I don't blame him. Ning Rongrong shook her head. I only blame myself. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. What did she mean? It was really difficult to understand a girl's complicated thoughts. Are you thinking about Wang Feng? Dai Mubai asked in a low voice. Don't worry, the captain should be here soon. No. Ning Rongrong's voice suddenly became a little louder. I don't want to see him. Not at all. Hearing this, everyone was even more stunned. Zhu Zhuqing seemed to understand something and wanted to say something, but stopped. After saying that, Ning Rongrong turned around and left. She went to continue the training with her teammates. In a chapter. Chapter 634. With her taking the lead, many of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect disciples who were complaining immediately fell silent. As the sect master's daughter, she could train with them. Naturally, they didn't dare to complain. Moreover, they still remembered clearly the day when they were attacked by the Martial Spirit Palace. I can't understand. Ma Hongjun scratched his head. With my experience with girls, I really can't understand. I might need the captain to come here personally to understand. At this moment, Oscar suddenly said to the distance, Wang Feng, you're back. Swoosh, swoosh. Several rays of light instantly condensed in the distance. Ning Rongrong also hurriedly ran over from afar. She looked in the direction that Oscar said, but she didn't see anything. She couldn't help but blush with anger. Everyone, didn't you want to see him? Dai Mubai wondered. Oscar, do you want to die? Ning Rongrong said angrily. Oscar coughed a few times and laughed awkwardly. Suddenly, he was stunned. He looked behind Ning Rongrong and said in surprise, Captain, you're really back? The others were also stunned. They looked into the distance with surprise. You still want to lie to me? Ning Rongrong sneered. I won't be fooled. If he's really back, I'll bring Ning Rongrong's name here to read. However, at this moment, a familiar voice suddenly sounded from behind her. Rongrong Ning. This name doesn't sound good. The moment the voice sounded, Dai Mubai and the others couldn't help but laugh. Of course, they didn't really laugh out loud. They were holding it in. Zhu Zhuqing's beautiful eyes glanced at him, but she remained silent. Ning Rongrong didn't turn around. Instead, she said in a trembling voice, Go away, go away. I don't want to see you. After saying that, Ning Rongrong ran out. Wang Feng also looked at Ning Rongrong in surprise. He was a little confused for a moment. He just rushed back. There was a pair of blood wings on his back. He was wearing a black robe and a mask. Bibidin's plan was to give Wang Feng a few months to prepare for something in advance. She also wanted Wang Feng to get in touch with her daughter, Qian Rinxue. He wanted to see if he could help Qian Rinxue seize the throne of the Heavendo Empire and accelerate Bibidin's plan. However, logically speaking, Qian Rinxue and the Thousand Dao sect were on the same side. This plan should have been approved by the Thousand Dao sect. Wang Feng wasn't sure if he should help Qian Rinxue seize the throne of the Heavendo Empire or not, because no matter what, Bibi Dan had said that when they returned, she would bring him to a place where he could witness the power of the gods. It was definitely the Rakshasa mystic realm. Even if he really helped Qian Renshua seize the throne, Bibi Don would only agree to one of his requests. Wang Feng obviously didn't care about the Bibidan's request. Therefore, Wang Feng came to see how Tang San and the others were doing. He had no choice. With Bibidan's calculations and plans, he didn't know if there would be other accidents. This woman was really something. Wang Feng didn't expect to encounter such a scene as soon as he returned. Wang Feng knew that Ning Rongrong was sad, but he didn't expect it to be so serious. Thinking of this, Wang Fengxin couldn't help but sigh softly. "Brother Feng, you go and take a look first." Tang Xin glanced at Zhu Zhuqing. "Lure along. To be honest, Rongrong hasn't eaten for a few days. She looks a lot more haggard." Wang Feng nodded. Although they hadn't seen each other for more than 5 years, they had actually met on the appointed day. It was also because of what had happened to them in the past few years. Therefore, he wasn't in a hurry. However, Tang San and the others must be very curious about what had happened to them. Wang Feng quickly chased in the direction Ning Rongrong ran in. In fact, Wang Feng didn't tell Tang San and the others about his identity as a spy at first, because he was worried that it would be easy for others to see through him. The more people who knew about it, the easier it would be for them to see through him. Unless each of them was an award-winning actor like him, they would be able to portray him in an extremely realistic manner. At this time, Pope and White was already dead. Moreover, this plan and secret were only known by Bibi Don and himself. It wasn't so important. Even if a little bit was revealed, it didn't matter. But it was best not to reveal it as much as possible, because Wang Feng didn't know if Bibi Don had any hidden tricks or something. Soon, Wang Feng found Ning Rongrong. Under a big tree, she seemed to be in a daze. "Rongrong." Wang Feng walked over, thought for a moment, and said, "Are you blaming me?" Ning Rongrong's body trembled, but she still didn't want to look back. She just shook her head and said, "No, I don't blame you. You saved the sect. How can I blame you?" "Yes, I think so too," Wang Fengxin said. "Then why are you so sad? Why don't you turn around?" Wang Feng coughed a few times. "I don't want to." Ning Rongrong's voice trembled slightly. "Wang Feng, go away. I won't bother you anymore." Wang Feng thought for a moment and seemed to understand something. "Then I'm leaving." After that, Wang Feng turned around and left. In an instant, Ning Rongrong whimpered and squatted on the ground, sobbing. After a while, a figure appeared in front of her and whispered, "Rongrong, do you really think I'll leave? If there's anything, just say it." Ning Rongrong raised her head, and her face was covered in tears. "Wang Feng, I'm not pure anymore. I hugged that Pope very intimately, and I even snuggled up to him and said a lot of intimate words to him. I feel so shameless. I feel—" Ning Rongrong couldn't finish her sentence. She just lowered her head, as if she was too ashamed to face the elders of Jiangdong. "I'm so useless. I actually didn't see it. I feel so dirty," Ning Rongrong sobbed. "I'm not worthy of you at all now. So that's how it is." Wang Fengxin thought to himself. Wang Feng thought for a moment and said, "You're not worthy of me anyway." Ning Rongrong. Ning Rongrong was so angry that she wanted to cry and laugh at the same time. She looked at Wang Feng, and for a moment, she laughed and cried. "You, Ning Rongrong. You silly girl." Wang Feng pulled Ning Rongrong into his arms. "He's already dead. Do you think I care about that?" Wang Fengxin thought, if someone really dared to pretend to be me to get close to you, I wouldn't just stand by and watch, waiting for the plan to fail. I'll just pick up my weapon and kill him first. Why don't you care? Ning Rongrong hugged Wang Feng, and she didn't cry or laugh. She just said softly, "I hugged another man and said so many intimate words to another man. How can you not care?" Wang Feng. Ning Rongrong lightly punched Wang Feng. "I won't make trouble for no reason." Wang Feng. "I feel that I'm still useless and can't help you at all. You even saved my sect. I feel that I'm really useless by your side." "Rongrong, you said something wrong. You're still a little useful," Wang Feng said. Ning Rongrong. P.S. And this chapter ends. Chapter 635. Ning Rongrong's situation. Wang Feng didn't guess it at first, But later on, Wang Feng guessed it. After all, at that time, Ning Rongrong hugged the white-clothed Pope Diff and said a lot of goosebumps. Something like, I'll give you a check, big, and so on. If it was to the person he liked, it would naturally be no problem, but in the end, it was to the enemy his feelings were deceived. It became a knot in his heart. What's the use of me? I can't help you with anything. Ning Rongrong lightly snorted. A woman who can't help a man is useless. At that time, my mother could at least protect my father and let my father carry forward the seven-treasure glazed tile sect. It seems like I can only drag you down. Wang Fengxin's heart moved. Only then did he remember that according to the seven-treasure glazed tile sect's rules, Ning Fengji should have married an extremely powerful woman. TSK, his status in the family couldn't be guaranteed. He was probably a slave to his wife back then. It's okay, my legs are thick, you can't drag me down. Wang Feng said. Ning Rongrong was so angry that she laughed. Wang Feng, you're so annoying. Why do you always make me laugh? Then what's the use of me? Ning Rongrong wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes. For a moment, she felt very complicated, but she didn't feel depressed. Girls can have children, we men can't. Wang Feng thought for a moment. Ning Rongrong's face blushed. She suddenly said angrily, Wang Feng, are you treating us girls as tools to have children? You're objectifying us girls. Wang Feng, Rongrong, do you want to be a female boxer for once? Punch out. But Wang Feng was joking. Sure enough, he heard Ning Rongrong say shyly in a low voice, but I'm willing to have children with you. Wang Feng smiled. In the face of true love, how could there be a female boxer? Wang Feng, why are you still wearing a mask? Ning Rongrong turned around and touched the cold mask. I'm disfigured and ugly, so I can't take it off for the time being. I'm afraid I'll scare you. Wang Feng said casually as a thought crossed his mind. However, hearing this, Ning Rongrong suddenly said with a look of pleasant surprise, Really? That's great. Wang Feng, what do you mean? Are you hoping for me to become ugly? You become ugly so that I can be a match for you. I'm a super pretty little fairy. Ning Rongrong giggled. Hearing this, Wang Feng was slightly surprised. He patted Ning Rongrong's head. What a silly girl. Although the angle was very tricky, he could feel that Ning Rongrong still felt that way in her heart and felt that she was not worthy of him. Sigh, I'm still too outstanding. Forget it. He would let her think that way. At least it would make Rongrong feel better. They chatted for a while longer before Wang Feng took Ning Rongrong back to the masters. Tisk, Brother Feng, you're so effective. Ma Hongjun smiled. Look, Rongrong is glowing. She wasn't alone just then, was she? Wang Feng came back with Ning Rongrong. Fatty, do you want to die? Ning Rongrong snorted. I can't beat you, but Grandpa Jian and Grandpa Gu can beat you up. Ma Hongjun dug his nose. He didn't seem to be afraid. However, hearing what Ning Rongrong said proved that Ning Rongrong was a good person. For a moment, smiles appeared on everyone's faces. Zhu Zhuqing was the only one who glanced at Wang Feng. Shrek's 7 monsters were finally here. This is Xiao Wu, right? Wang Feng looked at the little rabbit in Tang San's arms and sighed. Xiao Wu's words seemed to be echoing in his ears. To be able to give up one's life for another, this kind of love had reached the pinnacle. Wang Feng sensed that Tang San's soul power was 2 ranks higher than his. At the same time, all aspects of his body should have improved a lot. Wang Feng had 300,000-year soul rings, so he was clear about them. The soul ring that Xiao Wu had sacrificed to Tang San had appeared wholeheartedly, and Tang San had absorbed it perfectly. Furthermore, it contained Xiao Wu's own power. For a soul master, it was the most perfect result. Furthermore, this sacrifice also included the soul, which would greatly increase Tang San's spiritual power. There were no side effects. However, Wang Feng had all kinds of abilities, and his absorption of the 100,000-year soul ring was also perfect. In particular, 2 of them were additional rewards from his system. They were completely absorbed without any side effects. The little rabbit looked at Wang Feng and blinked its big eyes. It looked quite cute. Tang San nodded and suddenly said, Teacher, My soul bone seems to have changed. Can you help me take a look? On the way here, I haven't figured out what's going on with my soul bone. Tang San's soul bones were only slightly inferior to Wang Feng's. He had 200,000-year soul bones, one 60,000-year soul bone, and one external soul bone with growth ability. Wang Feng was also a little surprised. What kind of changes could happen to Tang San's soul bone? Oh, show it to me. Master's eyes focused. Even titled Dalu rarely have soul bones. There are usually some changes that have not been studied yet. If there are any changes, you must try your best to control it. You must not develop in a bad direction. Xiao San should have 200,000 years soul bones now, right? Oscar thought for a while. I only have one until now, and it's only 20,000 year soul bones. Oscar had a mirror B soul bone. It was a rather special soul bone. I have two. Dai Mubai shook his head and said, however, they are both 60 to 70,000 years soul bones. One of them is from the imperial family of the empire. The other one is obtained by myself over the years. I have two too. Ma Hongjun smiled. One of them was given to us by the captain in the Pope's palace. The other one was obtained by accident when I was traveling with Oscar over the years. 2. Zhu Zhuqing nodded slightly. She had one that Wang Feng gave her in the Pope's palace. The other one was passed down in her family. The Zhu family was one of the top families in the Star Luo Empire. They had a soul bone to pass down. In fact, large sects and families would more or less have one or two soul bones to pass down to their descendants. If someone in the family passed away, it would naturally be passed down slowly. Wang Feng suspected that the reason why the titled Douluo in the Martial Soul Hall did not have soul bones was that they were all taken by Bibi Dan. This was because Bibi Dan had the most soul bones. Although he had not seen it with his own eyes, Hulaina had mentioned it before. I have two too, Ning Rongrong said. However, I don't have as many as third brother. 100,000-year soul bone is too exaggerated. Ning Rongrong had one soul bone. One of them was given to her by Wang Feng. It was Shernyan's skull. It was about 30,000 years old. The other one was given to her by Ning Fengji. End of chapter. Chapter 636. However, the age of their soul bones was not even 70,000 or 80,000 years old, let alone 100,000 years. In Wang Feng's impression, apart from Tang San, the others only had one soul bone in the original work. It seemed that they had changed a lot too. Thinking about it, other than Oscar and Ma Hongjun, the rest of them had extraordinary backgrounds. How could they have gotten their hands on soul bones? Oscar and Ma Hongjun were probably just lucky. You only have two soul bones, so it's naturally difficult to change. However, it's already very rare. The master pondered for a moment. Little Three's soul bones are different. They're both 100,000-year-old. Actually, if possible, I don't want to get these two 100,000-year-old soul bones. Tang San shook his head. This was not pretentious. Tang San had two 100,000-year-old soul bones. One was his mother, and the other was his lover. But they were both soul beasts. Hearing this, Wang Feng's heart skipped a beat. If he could use the cauldron of heaven and earth and use his Xian Qi to refine it 108 times, would it be able to improve the quality of his soul bones? If he had the chance to find a soul bone next time, he could give it a try. If he had more soul bones, he could try fusing them. Wang Feng couldn't forget about the fused torso bone. The feeling of being able to sell something was really wonderful. Little Three, show me your soul bones. Let me see what's going on, the master said. Tang Sin nodded and slightly channeled his soul power. Several soul bones slowly appeared. The 8 spider spears on his back were sharp and looked ferocious. Everyone dispersed. There was no one else nearby, only the teachers and the 7 monsters. Tang Sin did not intend to hide anything. It doesn't seem to have changed. They looked at the 8 spider spears. Although its aura was stronger, the changes were not very big. Tang Sin was also stunned. Strange, I felt some changes before. Why is there no movement now? The master thought for a moment and suddenly said, Little Feng, you and Little Three can practice. Little Three, you can use all the abilities of your soul bones. Maybe you have to use them for a while, to see the changes. Tang Xin nodded and felt that it made sense. Wang Feng didn't refuse. He had returned to the Shrek Academy to see how strong Little Three and the others were. The last time he met them, he was using the identity of White Pope Tiff. Because it was a disguise, he only exchanged a few simple blows with them. After several years, Tang Xin once again stood in front of Wang Feng. How many times has it been? Tang Xin suddenly felt like time was flowing like water. He recalled the first time he fought with Big Brother Feng in the Holy Spirit Village. At that time, she was worried that Big Brother Feng would get hurt, so she brought medicinal herbs. In the end, she used them on herself. Thinking of this, Tang Xin could not help but smile. Tang Xin took a deep breath. A purple light flashed in his eyes, and 3 soul bones appeared on his body. 2 yellow and 2 purple soul rings, 1 black and 1 red, lit up from his body. His current physical fitness was also extremely strong. Any 100,000-year soul bone would greatly strengthen a soul master's body, and it was the same for a 100,000-year soul ring. In fact, the endurance of a soul ring was related to the soul master's physical fitness in addition to the level of the soul ring. Usually, the stronger the soul ring, the higher the age of the soul ring. Moreover, Tang Xin's 8 extraordinary meridians had been opened at this time, so his cultivation speed and physical strength had been greatly improved. From Wang Feng's point of view, he could clearly feel that Tang Xin's body was a little special. The opening of the 8 extraordinary meridians meant that the body had entered a special realm. Of course, there might be a big difference between it and Wang Feng's dustless glass body, but it was much stronger than other soul masters. At the same time, Tang Xin's many Tang Sec consummate skills have been refined to an extremely high level after so many years of cultivation, and he could use them as he wished. Because it was a casual fight, there was no such thing as starting. Wang Feng waited quietly. He was now equivalent to a sword test stone to see what changes had happened to his soul bone and Tang Xin's strength. Soon, Tang Xin moved, but he made the first move with his domain. Blue-silver domain. Blue-silver grass had evolved into Blue-silver Emperor. This talent domain might not have any attack power, but it was indeed very strong. The most important thing was that one of Tang Xin's soul skills had undergone a huge change in the blue-silver domain. That was bind. There were forests all around, and Shrek Academy also had a lot of blue-silver grass. When Tang Xin's blue-silver domain was released, it almost instantly covered a range of 100 meters. Bind. Under the blue-silver domain, this first soul skill became an instant cast soul skill. Moreover, it was instant cast in the blue-silver domain. This was the powerful ability of the blue-silver domain. Moreover, the blue-silver emperor was much stronger than blue-silver grass in all aspects. If blue-silver grass was only R quality before, it was at least SSR or UR quality now. At least, that was what Wang Feng felt. Countless blue-silver grass covered Wang Feng's entire body from under his feet. The blue-silver emperor, which was as thick as an arm, looked extremely tough. It was like steel and flickered with a light blue luster. Just this move alone was very difficult for soul masters of the same level to block. Blue-silver stab. Tang Xin's eyes flashed. The moment the blue-silver emperor wrapped around Tang Xin, he activated the blue-silver stab. This was the 4th soul skill that was improved from the blue-silver cage. It could stab someone in midair and force them to be stunned for a second. At the same time, the 8 spider spears on Tang Xin's back moved slightly. His entire body emitted a faint golden light as he rushed towards Wang Feng. Following which, Tang Xin's right arm soul bone flashed and suddenly disappeared. He directly appeared in midair. This was the soul skill of the right arm bone that Xiao Wu sacrificed, teleportation. Binding spiderweb. At this moment, the stun effect ended. When Tang Xin rushed over, he had already prepared his 3rd soul skill. A ball of purple light condensed in his hand, and he threw it towards Wang Feng, who was still bound. Because it was teleportation, the moment the blue-silver stab disappeared, the binding spiderweb took over again, making it impossible for the opponent to escape. It was a complete set of soul skills. Soul Masters below rank 80 would not be able to resist such a combo. Under such control, Tang San had many choices. He could use his blue-silver Tyrant Spear to attack, or he could use his 8 Spider Spears to attack. However, if he wanted to use his Soul Bone, he naturally had to use his 8 Spider Spears. Tang San was not afraid that he could hurt Brother Feng. Brother Feng could even defeat a titled Douluo. He did not think that his attack could hurt Brother Feng. Everyone watched seriously. At this moment, Tang San's 8 Spider Spears shone. The 8 Spider Spears actually merged into one. Tang San's 8 Spider Spear had been damaged while blocking the 5-headed snake's attack. However, after Little Dance had sacrificed herself, Tang San's 8 Spider Spear had recovered. It had even undergone some changes. The 8 Spider Spears were like machines. They merged together and stabbed towards Wang Feng. Tang San could vaguely feel a special aura flowing between the soul bones. There seemed to be signs of fusion. When the 8 Spider Spears merged into one and landed on Wang Feng's body, Tang San's figure shuddered violently as he felt a great force being reflected from the 8 Spider Spear. It was as if he had stabbed an indestructible piece of metal. His entire body was instantly sent flying. Under the powerful explosion, countless blue-silver emperor vines were directly blown to pieces. Wang Feng's figure was revealed. Tang San's leg bone flashed. He used the flying ability of his blue-silver emperor leg bone and the ghost shadow perplexing track to quickly change his position in mid-air to maintain his balance. In a chapter. Chapter 637. It's still not enough. Wang Feng said, "Little San, your attack is very strong, but it's still difficult for you to break through my defense. The power of your soul bones hasn't been fully unleashed yet." Wang Feng's body was very strong now. 300,000-year soul rings, 300,000-year soul bones, and the dustless glass body allowed Wang Feng's body to reach a terrifying level. Right now, Wang Feng's mysterious underworld armor had reached 39,000 kilograms. It was a very terrifying number. When he was over rank 50, it was only 20,000 kilograms. Now that he was at rank 65, it was close to 40,000 kilograms. The external attachment soul bone had the ability to grow. Tang San's 8 Spider Spear was evolving. Every soul ring increased a soul master's overall strength. It didn't just mean that he gained soul skills. His previous soul skills would be enhanced by his new soul ring. Naturally, it was the same for his external soul bone that had the ability to grow. Right now, Wang Feng's mysterious underworld armor was very strong with the support of 300,000-year soul rings. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to assassinate an ordinary titled Dalu with his sword. Using a weapon to kill people was directly related to Wang Feng's mental strength, but it was also related to the strength of the mysterious dark spike itself. For example, Tang San's 8 Spider Spear could even hurt a soul Douluo. Tang San's 8 Spider Spear couldn't break through his mysterious underworld armor's defense. Little San is still a little weak. Wang Fengxin thought. Little San's strength should increase greatly after he becomes a god. He's still not strong enough now. At this moment, Tang San's 4 soul bones in midair suddenly flowed with a special aura. Following this, the 4 soul bones seemed to be injected with a special power. The 8 Spider Spear behind Tang San slowly shrank until it was only 3 meters long. Following this, it stuck to Tang San's back and extended to Tang San's chest. It actually formed a special breastplate. At the same time, his right arm and right leg bones quickly extended and formed a special armor. They became one with the breastplate formed by the 8 Spider Spear. However, it looked a little weird. This was because his left arm and leg didn't have any soul bones. Hence, they didn't form any special armor. It was the same for the soul bone in his head. After this change, Tang San's aura became much stronger. Wang Feng was taken aback. What the hell was that? Could a soul bone undergo a special transformation and form a true armor? Soul bone fusion technique? Grandmaster blurted out. What's that? The others were puzzled. None of them had heard of it before. Soul bones were extremely rare, and it was naturally even more difficult to research them. It's a very rare ability. A hint of delight flashed through the Grandmaster's eyes. It's a miraculous skill that resonates between soul bones and fuses them into a single entity. It can greatly increase a soul master's strength. After the fusion, the soul bone's compatibility with the soul master will be raised to a whole new level. This was the first time that everyone had heard of such a miraculous ability between soul bones. It was similar to martial soul fusion. However, it was obviously much more difficult than martial soul fusion. To form a true soul-bone fusion, 6 soul bones must be gathered to form a complete set. Little 3's soul bones are too special. It's only because he has 200,000-year soul bones that Little 3 was able to create such a soul-bone fusion skill. However, it's not as powerful as the combination of 6 soul bones. However, this means that after he has 6 soul bones, he will definitely be able to form a true soul-bone fusion technique. Everyone was shocked. Wang Fengxian had already guessed it, but he was still quite surprised. He had 300,000-year soul bones and 1 external soul bone, but they didn't form such a soul-bone fusion technique. He didn't expect Little 3 to form. Perhaps this has something to do with Little 3's soul rings or the fact that 2 of them are 10,000-year soul bones. Wang Feng shook his head in his heart. Tang San's soul bones and soul rings originated from the people closest to him. The fusion rate was very high, and with the external soul bone. That was why this scene was happening. However, Little 3's current soul bone fusion isn't very good. The Grandmaster pondered for a long time and shook his head. Little 3 forcefully fused 4 soul bones into 1 because he has a 100,000-year soul ring and an external soul bone. A truly perfect soul bone fusion technique requires an entire set of soul bones from the same soul beast. Only then can they achieve true resonance and achieve a perfect fusion rate of 100%. However, this is almost impossible. It's already very good to have a situation like Little 3. Everyone, a soul beast dropping an entire set of soul bones? Wang Feng couldn't help but laugh. Was it possible? Even if it was a sacrifice, it was impossible. Unless they hunted soul beasts of the same species and dropped soul bones from different parts, they might be able to achieve a similar effect. At this moment, Tang San, who had fused for soul bones, had obviously become stronger. Tang San's leg bones moved, and his body turned into a stream of light as he attacked Wang Feng. This time, his soul skill was unleashed even faster than before. Coil, parasitic blue-silver stab. The speed and power of his cast were much stronger than before. Wang Feng didn't resist. With his current strength, even if he didn't use any martial soul, Tang San's attack would be easily broken by him if he resisted. Countless blue-silver grass gathered under the ground of the blue-silver domain to form a long spear. Wang Feng focused and remained as still as a mountain. The blue-silver grass wrapped around his body didn't have any side effects on him. However, Wang Feng could clearly feel that the power of this soul skill had increased by quite a lot. It was obviously due to the soul-bone fusion. There was a blue light at the tip of the spear. Almost at the moment when it stabbed Wang Feng, Tang San quickly teleported and directly appeared behind Wang Feng. He turned around and attacked Wang Feng's back. The spear landed on Wang Feng's back. The next moment, the aura of the soul-bone fusion on Tang San's body was instantly dispersed. The long spear formed by the blue-silver emperor was shattered again. However, Tang San didn't give up. The long spear roared, and the clear sky hammer appeared in his hand again. Tang San made use of this rebounding force and shouted loudly. He stepped into the void and turned his body. Using the wild splitting wind hammer technique, he once again swung the rebounding force of the mysterious underworld armor at Wang Feng. Wang Fengxian was slightly stunned. He didn't expect Little San to be able to adapt so quickly. The chaotic splitting wind hammer technique was a technique that borrowed strength to attack strength. The first time it was reflected. The second time, Tang San immediately thought of using this method to counter his opponent. This was equivalent to borrowing the strength of Wang Feng's Xianming armor to unleash an even stronger chaotic splitting wind hammer technique. Although it was only one hammer, this hammer contained the strength of the blue-silver tyrant spear. A ripple-like wave appeared in the void and landed directly on Wang Feng's back. Wang Feng still didn't move under the immense strength. However, countless ripples appeared on his clothes from the shock. The Xianming armor was close to 40,000 kilograms, but Wang Feng immediately released it. Suddenly, Wang Feng sank at a visible speed. The ground started to crack, and it was as if Wang Feng had suddenly become shorter. End of chapter. Chapter 638. Clang. The sound of metal colliding rang out. This time, the huge force bounced back, but Tang San couldn't use the Haotian hammer or the wild hammering technique. There was a limit to using force against force. Tang San felt that this hammer was much worse than 9-1. M.X.A. Z. Com/bow/. Chapter 1. Discarded son-in-law. God bless my family. Our foundation will be evergreen, and our descendants will be extraordinary. Our descendants will all be dragons and phoenixes among men. The Yi family's matriarch leaned on her dragon-headed walking stick and looked at the Yi family's descendants with gratification. Today was the 60th birthday of the Yi family's helmsman, Lu Fengji. Ever since the Yi family's old master fell seriously ill, the Yi family's matriarch took over the reins and made all the decisions. Those who came to congratulate her were all influential figures in Yin province. At this moment, a long shout rang out. M.X/bow. Yi family's Yi Tanming wishes the old madam happiness as boundless as the East Sea and longevity as long as the South Mountain. He presents a jade sea. Qinyuan's chairman Wang Fushan wishes the old madam a long life. He presents a pair of jewels and jade carvings. Fenghai Group's general manager wishes the old madam a long life and good health. He presents a golden plaque. The guests who came and went, looking at the expensive gifts, were all envious. The total value of the gifts this time was probably over 5 million yuan. However, the next voice made the guests somewhat stunned and speechless. Yi family's son-in-law, Xiao Yang, wishes the old madam a long life. He presents a rusty copper pot. As soon as these words came out, the guests looked at each other in dismay, and then burst in a laughter of disdain. Is this Xiao Yang the bastard who married into the Yi family 3 years ago? That's him. I don't know what old Master Yi is thinking. Although Yi Yunshu's father is mediocre, Yi Yunshu is still the Yi family's precious daughter. Why did he betroth her to a nobody? The old madam didn't let him step into the Yi family for 3 years. It's enough to prove her dissatisfaction. Today is the old madam's birthday, but he presents a piece of scrap metal. What a joke. Yi Yunshu was a very beautiful woman. She had a tall figure and dark eyebrows. She was born with a high-class face. But at this moment, her face was covered with haze. M.X.A. Z. Com/B/ She pulled Xiao Yang, who was standing at the side, to a corner. Old Yunshu, what's wrong? Xiao Yang asked, puzzled. Yi Yunshu said angrily, You're asking me what's wrong? Where's the gift I bought for you? Xiao Yang innocently pointed at the copper pot on the big red table. There, that's it. 50,000 yuan. You actually bought a piece of scrap metal. Today is Grandma's birthday. How can you do this? After saying that, Yi Yunshu felt wronged. It had been 3 years. That good-for-nothing had done nothing but stay at home and cook. His cooking was not bad, but what use was that? A real man had to achieve earth-shattering things and achieve unparalleled fame and fortune. That was what a real man was. However, when they looked at Xiao Yang again, he still had an indifferent look on his face, which made them both angry and hateful. M.X.A. Z. Com/bow/ Take today's matter as an example. Although 50,000 yuan was not much, it was enough to buy a decent gift. But he bought a piece of scrap metal and threw it away at Grandma's birthday banquet. Sure enough, she could not leave such an important matter to Xiao Yang. He was really useless. If it were not for the Yi family's reputation, She might have divorced this good-for-nothing long ago. Yin Shu, don't be fooled by the appearance of this copper pot. It's a piece of bronze handed down from the Han Dynasty. It's worth at least 50 million yuan. Oh, 50 million yuan? Don't tell me you bought it from the antique street. At this moment, Yi Tanming walked over with a playful smile. Yi Tanming was the Dowager Duchess's most favored grandson. If there were no accidents, Yi Tanming would be in charge of the Yi family in the future. He was naturally aware of this, so he had always thought highly of himself. He especially looked down on his second uncle's family. Because his second uncle was not favored, he went out early to start his own business. He was only allowed to visit the Yi family on important occasions. Xiaoyang glanced at him indifferently and said truthfully, "I bought it from the antique street." As soon as these words came out, the guests roared with laughter. Who doesn't know that the antique street sells 80 to 90% of fake goods? It's fine if you bought a fake, but at least pick a decent one. Look at the gift I prepared for grandmother. Yi Tanming walked to the sea of jade that was half the height of a person. His proud expression was self-evident. Indeed, compared to his gift, Xiaoyang's gift was not worth mentioning. At this moment, the Dowager Duchess walked over with her dragon-headed walking stick. All the relatives and guests stood up respectfully. "Grandma, Xiaoyang is not sensible. Please don't blame him. When I go back, I will prepare a decent gift for you." Computer, www.com/Yi Yinshu took a few steps forward and bowed to the Dowager Duchess. Although she and Xiaoyang were only married in name, he was still her husband in name. In front of the relatives, she still had to protect him. The Dowager Duchess looked at the copper pot and showed a disgusted expression. She snorted from her nostrils. "Forget it. Your family doesn't have much money. Stay here and live a good life. Grandson, the birthday banquet is about to start. Help me there." Yi Tanming agreed and hurriedly supported the Dowager Duchess. He did not forget to turn around and give Yi Yinshu a proud look. Yi Yinshu bitterly bit her lips. She wanted to use this birthday banquet to leave a good impression on the Dowager Duchess. It seemed that everything was ruined. She was about to follow when the Dowager Duchess said indifferently, "The main table is full. You don't have to go up." Yi Yinshu stopped in her tracks. A sense of humiliation lingered in her heart. M8. The dignified daughter of the Yi family had to sit with the guests. She felt countless curious gazes on her. Yi Yinshu wished she could leave. She looked at the main table on the stage. Under the spotlight, the banquet was filled with laughter. This kind of difference in treatment showed how much the Dowager Duchess disliked her family. Her father was useless, but he was still a member of the Yi family. Unfortunately, her son-in-law was even more useless. In the Dowager Duchess' eyes, Yi Yinshu's family was completely hopeless. "Yinshu, are you envious?" Xiaoyang asked with a smile. Yi Yinshu impatiently said, "What's the use of being envious? That's the main seat. Only the Dowager Duchess can sit there. What am I worth?" After grandfather fell seriously ill, our whole family moved out. Our lives were getting worse day by day. We wanted to use this opportunity to curry favor with the Dowager Duchess and ask for some resources from the Yi family. But now, forget it. What's the use of telling you? You don't understand. Yi Yinshu said, feeling wronged. Tears fell from her eyes. Xiaoyang was startled. "I don't understand." M8/what? A man with ambition was like a swan swaying the sky. He had never thought of getting involved in the Yi family's affairs. It was not that he did not want to, but that he disdained. Xiaoyang was the founder of the world's #1 secret organization, the Dragon King Palace. People called him the Dragon King. He had 4 seraphs and 12 seraphs under him. He controlled half of the world's power and wealth. It could be said that with a single word from Xiaoyang, not to mention the Yi family, even the major families in the entire Yin province would be annihilated in a flash. You didn't understand? He had been a live-in son-in-law for 3 years. He only wanted to fulfill his long-cherished wish. But now, he regarded Yi Yinshu as his wife. Every time Yi Yinshu came back from the Yi family, she was always smiling. Xiaoyang originally thought that Yi Yinshu should have a certain status in the Yi family. But today, he saw that it was not the case. Thinking of this, Xiao Yang said lightly. Yinshu, if you like, I'll let you sit in that seat. Slash bow? Chapter 639. Brother Feng's body is truly miraculous. Tang Sen thought. Could it be because of the 6 immortal herbs he consumed? Tang Sen felt that it was possible. Oscar looked at the drop of blood and hurriedly used Jinhua sausage. His 6 soul rings lit up. X8 Z com/bow/. Chapter 1. Dethroned son-in-law. The heavens bless my Yi family. Our foundation will be evergreen, and our descendants will be extraordinary. The Yi family's matriarch leaned on her dragon-headed walking stick and looked at the Yi family's descendants with gratification. Today was the 60th birthday of the Yi family's helmsman, Lu Fengji. Ever since the Yi family's old master fell seriously ill, the Yi family's matriarch took over the reins and made all the decisions. Those who came to celebrate today were all influential figures in the Yin province. At this moment, a long shout rang out. X/bow. Yi family's Yi Tanming wishes the matriarch happiness as great as the East Sea and longevity as long as the South Mountain. He presents a jade sea. Qinyuan's chairman Wang Fushan wishes the matriarch a long life and presents a pair of jewels and jade carvings. Fenghai Group's general manager wishes the matriarch a long life and good health. He presents a golden plaque. The guests who came and went, looking at the expensive gifts, were all envious. The total value of the gifts this time was probably over 5 million yuan. However, the next voice made the guests somewhat stunned and speechless. Yi family's son-in-law Xiao Yang wishes the matriarch a long life and presents a rusty copper pot. As soon as these words came out, the guests looked at each other in dismay, and then burst into a burst of contemptuous laughter. Is this Xiao Yang the bastard who married into the Yi family 3 years ago? That's him. I don't know what the Yi family's old master is thinking. Although Yi Yunshu's father is mediocre, Yi Yunshu is still considered the Yi family's daughter. Yet, she was betrothed to a nobody. The matriarch has not allowed him to step into the Yi family for 3 years. This is enough to prove that she is dissatisfied with him. Today is the matriarch's birthday, yet he presents a piece of scrap metal. What a joke. Yi Yunshu was a very beautiful woman. She had a tall figure and dark eyebrows. She was born with a high-class face. However, at this moment, her face was covered with a haze. X8 Z com/B/. She pulled Xiao Yang, who was standing at the side, to a corner. Old Yunshu, what's wrong? Xiao Yang asked, puzzled. Yi Yunshu said angrily, How dare you ask me what's wrong? Where's the gift I bought for you? Xiao Yang innocently pointed at the copper pot on the big red table. There, that's it. 50,000 yuan. You actually bought a piece of scrap metal. Today is Grandma's birthday. How can you do this? After saying that, Yi Yunshu felt wronged. It had been 3 years. That good-for-nothing had done nothing but stay at home and cook. His cooking was not bad, but what use was that? A real man had to achieve earth-shattering things and achieve unparalleled fame and fortune. That was what a real man was. However, when they looked at Xiao Yang again, he still had an indifferent look on his face, which made them both angry and hateful. X8 Z com/bow/ take today's matter as an example. Although 50,000 yuan was not much, it was enough to buy a decent gift. However, he bought a piece of scrap metal and threw it away at Grandma's birthday banquet. Sure enough, she couldn't leave such an important matter to Xiao Yang. He was really useless. If it weren't for the Yi family's reputation, she might have divorced this good-for-nothing long ago. Yunshu, don't be fooled by this copper pot's appearance. It's a piece of copper passed down from the Han Dynasty. It's worth at least 50 million yuan. Oh, 50 million yuan? You didn't buy it from the antique street, did you? At this moment, Yi Tanming walked over with a playful smile. Yi Tanming was the Dowager Duchess's most favored grandson. If there were no accidents, Yi Tanming would be in charge of the Yi family in the future. He was naturally aware of this, so he had always thought highly of himself. He especially looked down on his second uncle's family. Because his second uncle was not favored, he went out early to start his own business. He was only allowed to visit the Yi family on important occasions. Xiaoyang glanced at him indifferently and said truthfully, "I bought it from the antique street." As soon as these words came out, all the guests burst into laughter. Who doesn't know that the antique street sells 80 to 90% of fake goods? It's fine if you bought a fake, but at least pick a decent one. Look at the gift I prepared for grandmother. Yi Tanming walked to the sea of jade that was half the height of a person. His proud expression was self-evident. Indeed, compared to his gift, Xiaoyang's gift was not worth mentioning. At this moment, the Dowager Duchess walked over with her dragon-headed walking stick. All the relatives and guests stood up respectfully. "Grandma, Xiaoyang is insensible. Please don't blame him. When I go back, I'll prepare a decent gift for you." Computer www.com/Yinshu took a few steps forward and bowed to the Dowager Duchess. Although she and Xiaoyang were only married in name, he was still her husband in name. In front of the relatives, she still had to protect him. The Dowager Duchess looked at the copper pot and showed a disgusted expression. She snorted from her nostrils. "Forget it. Your family doesn't have much money. Stay here and live a good life. Grandson, the birthday banquet is about to start. Help me there." Yi Tanming agreed and hurriedly supported the Dowager Duchess. He did not forget to turn around and give Yi Yunshu a proud look. Yi Yunshu bitterly bit her lips. She wanted to use this birthday banquet to leave a good impression on the Dowager Duchess. It seemed that everything was ruined. She was about to follow when the Dowager Duchess said indifferently, "The main table is full. You don't have to go up." Yi Yunshu stopped in her tracks. A sense of humiliation lingered in her heart. 8. The dignified daughter of the Yi family had to sit with the guests. She felt countless curious gazes on her. Yi Yunshu couldn't wait to leave. She looked at the main table on the stage. Under the spotlight, the banquet was filled with laughter. This kind of difference in treatment showed how much the Dowager Duchess disliked her family. Her father was useless, but he was still a member of the Yi family. Unfortunately, her son-in-law was even more useless. In the Dowager Duchess' eyes, Yi Yunshu's family was completely hopeless. "Yunshu, are you envious?" Xiaoyang asked with a smile. Yi Yunshu impatiently said, "What's the use of being envious? That's the main seat. Only the Dowager Duchess can sit there. What am I worth?" After grandfather fell seriously ill, our whole family moved out. Our lives were getting worse day by day. We wanted to use this opportunity to curry favor with the Dowager Duchess and ask for some resources from the Yi family. But now, forget it. What's the use of telling you? You don't understand. Yi Yunshu said, feeling wronged. Tears fell from her eyes. Xiaoyang was startled. "I don't understand." 8/what? A man with ambition was like a swan swaying the sky. He had never thought of getting involved in the Yi family's affairs. It wasn't that he didn't want to, but that he disdained to do so. Xiaoyang was the founder of the world's #1 secret organization, the Dragon King Palace. People called him the Dragon King. He had 4 great seraphs and 12 great seraphs under him. He controlled half of the world's power and wealth. It could be said that with a single word from Xiaoyang, not to mention the Yi family, even the great families of Yin province would be annihilated in a flash. He didn't understand? He had been a live-in son-in-law for 3 years. He only wanted to fulfill his long-cherished wish. But now, he regarded Yi Yunshu as his wife. Every time Yi Yunshu came back from the Yi family, she was always smiling. Xiaoyang originally thought that Yi Yunshu should have a certain status in the Yi family. But today he saw that it wasn't the case. Thinking of this, Xiaoyang said lightly, "Yunshu, if you like, I'll let you sit in that seat. /bow?" Chapter 640. No matter how talented he is, he's still dead, isn't he? Dai Mubai and Oscar, who had finished fighting, walked over. Wang Feng, looking at everyone's happy faces. Wang Feng felt that Bibidan's plan was really amazing. It could be said that she had completely achieved her goal. At least now, Tang San and the others really believed that White Popetiff was really dead. After a round of fighting, everyone was a little tired. It was almost evening now, so they all went back to rest or go back to cultivate. Wang Feng was also quietly thinking. His identity as White Pope Tiff had been announced to the world, so it was impossible for him to use this identity to get close to Qian Renshue. Bibi Dan wanted him to help Qian Renshue become the emperor of the Heaven Do Empire. Bibi Dan didn't ask him to help directly, but secretly. Obviously, she wasn't in a hurry. The two major sects were still intact at this time, which meant that Bibi Dan would replan many of her plans. Based on Wang Feng's understanding, the martial spirit palace had deeply infiltrated the various kingdoms and duchies of the two empires. To exaggerate, as long as they raised their arms, those kingdoms and duchies would definitely turn to the martial spirit palace. But now that the two major sects were intact, Bibi Dan wasn't anxious about the two empires for the time being. On the contrary, it was very likely that she would focus on her own strength. As long as she could quickly inherit the deity position and obtain the inheritance, then she could easily achieve these goals. Therefore, Bibi Dan asked him to help Qian Renshue. Even if he failed, she wouldn't care too much. Thinking of this, Wang Fengxin was suddenly shocked. He gave Bibi Dan a 100,000-year soul beast and told her to cultivate to become a god. Would Bibi Dan inherit the deity position in advance? It shouldn't be. As long as she brings me to the Rakshasa secret realm, I will cause trouble and interrupt her deity position inheritance. Wang Fengxin thought to himself. Then, she won't be able to inherit. As for Qian Renshue, thinking of Qian Renshue, Wang Feng suddenly remembered that he hadn't seen her for a long time. She had appeared when his grandfather was hunting him down, but he hadn't seen her face. Previously, when he revealed himself as White Pope Tiff, he had also encountered Xue Qinghe. How about I BB'd on first and unify the entire continent and the seven sects? Completely shatter Bibidan's ambition. An idea suddenly appeared in Wang Feng's mind. Wang Feng himself was dumbfounded by this thought. It was too absurd. It was simply too absurd. However, it did not seem impossible. Forget it, forget it. Wang Feng quickly shook his head. This idea is too funny. Let's talk about it when we have the chance to meet Qian Renshue. He rested at Shrek Academy for a few days. This was especially true for Tang San and the others. They had experienced a long journey in the Great Stardow Forest, so they had been resting and recuperating in the academy for the past few days. Wang Feng secretly inquired about the situation in the Heaven Do Imperial Palace. He was also thinking about this idea. There were only two descendants of the Snow Knight Emperor in the Heaven Do Empire. One was Xue Qinghe, and the other was Avalanche. Avalanche was the prince who had provoked Shrek and the others in the Heaven Do Imperial Academy. He had always been arrogant and looked down on everyone. Wang Feng still remembered the ending of the original novel. However, Wang Feng did not know the ending from the original novel. Just like the ending of the original novel, where Tang San became a god, Wang Feng did not know how it happened. However, he found out through various channels. After thinking for a while, Wang Feng remembered that this Avalanche seemed to have become the emperor of the Heaven Do Empire. He seemed to have become the biggest winner. It seems like the old poison is indebted to Prince Xue Xing of the imperial family. The last time I came to the Heaven Do Empire, it was the old poison who represented the imperial family. Wang Feng thought for a while. I can ask him when I have the chance. Qian Renshue's acting as Xue Qinghe was pretty good. He has many supporters in the imperial family. It seems a little different. A few days later, the Grandmaster said that Douluo, sect Master Ning, and his father, Yu Yuanjin of the Blue Lightning Overlord sect, had all come to the academy. Their purpose was naturally to see him. Shrek Academy, conference room. Shrek's 7 monsters, Douluo, sect Master Ning, and Yu Yuanjin were all present. Little madman, your life is really tough. Although it was the second time he had seen the old poison, it was the first time the old poison had seen him. His face was rosy, his voice was loud, his figure was clear, and his black hair was shiny. He did not look old at all. Instead, he looked a few years younger. Obviously, he had succeeded in his cultivation. Wang Feng sensed that the old poison's soul power had improved after being abused by him last time. He was already at rank 94 and was charging towards rank 95. It was probably the effect of the heaven-scented cloud radish's root. The old poison came over to hug Wang Feng. However, he was sent flying by Wang Feng's punch. Old poison, why is your body still so weak? Wang Feng laughed and said, we didn't find a partner either. Wang Feng's punch was quite powerful. Although the old poison was a titled Douluo, Wang Feng's current strength was different from the past. Douluo stood up and rubbed his chest. He couldn't help but laugh as he scolded Hui Yu Hao. You little lunatic, you're really a freak. You've grown even stronger over the past 5 years. 5 years ago, you could already fight titled Douluo on your own. I'm afraid even I can't beat you now, right? I couldn't beat you 5 years ago either, Wang Feng said. Douluo's mouth twitched. The rest of the people laughed out loud. With Wang Feng's state 5 years ago, Douluo might not be able to defeat him. Now, it was even more impossible. Old poison, you should be very strong now. Tang Xin comforted him. He had seen Douluo 2 days ago, but today there was an important matter, so he called them together. Little Feng, long time no see. At this moment, Ning Fengji smiled and said, if not for your note and that bone spike, we would have been destroyed. The 7 treasure glazed tile sect might have been destroyed. Over the past 5 years, we've been looking for news about you. Now that we know that you're still alive, we're really happy. Wang Feng had saved the sect. This was not a small favor. With the 5 titled Douluo and the white-robed Poptive strength, even if there were 2 titled Douluo, he might not be able to escape unscathed. Wang Feng smiled and pointed at the sword Douluo and the bone Douluo. If not for the 2 of them, my news alone would not have been of much use. Thanks to your prompt response and proper handling, the 7 treasure glazed tile sect was able to survive. Ning Fengji laughed out loud. Kid, aren't you usually very capable? Why are you so humble now? The sword Douluo was still dressed in white, and his white hair fluttered in the wind. He stared at Wang Feng for a moment, and there was a strange look in his eyes. Kid, your strength is extraordinary now. Even I can't tell how strong you are. Wang Feng could use a shadow mist at any time, so even the sword Douluo could not tell how strong he was. The sword Douluo was about to reach rank 97, and he was just 1 step away. Chapter 641. If that's the case, Wang Feng thought for a moment and said, then I won't hold back. Uncle Ning, how about your 7 treasure glazed tile sect change your surname to Wang? Ning Fengji, sorta. The bone Douluo laughed hoarsely. Brother Feng, you're still so direct. Tang San and the others couldn't help but laugh. Only Ning Rongrong's face was flushed red as she shyly glared at Wang Feng. You're Wang Feng? You're indeed a straightforward person. This old man likes people like you who don't hide their thoughts. At this moment, Yu Yuanjin walked over. His eyes were full of smiles, and his slightly aged face gave people a feeling of vitality. There are very few young people like you nowadays. Wang Feng nodded. I think so too. You're Yu Yuanjin, sect master you, right? Teacher's father. According to seniority, I should call you Grandpa Yu. The last time they met was at the Blue Lightning Overlord sect. Wang Feng still had a rather good impression of this Yu Yuanjin. From his fighting style last time, he felt that Yu Yuanjin should be a straightforward person who liked to be simple and straightforward. Yu Yuanjin always wanted to win with 1 move against the white-clothed Poptive in his own home ground. He didn't use any fancy moves. He was very much to Wang Feng's liking. Ha! You don't have to be so respectful. Yu Yuanjin waved his hand and said, your news not only saved the 7 treasure glazed tile sect, you indirectly saved the lives of more than 1,000 people in the Blue Lightning Overlord clan. I'm here to thank you. Wang Feng smiled. You don't have to be so anxious. Wang Feng continued. Since everyone is here today, then. Little San, you first. Tang Xin nodded and walked out slowly. Sect Master Ning, Sect Master Yu. I'm sure everyone knows that the situation on the continent is changing rapidly. You should know what the Martial Spirit Palace is thinking. They have no scruples about killing the 2 sects directly. Think about it. If the two sects were destroyed and the Supreme Sky sect did not appear, who would their next target be? Everyone was slightly startled and immediately quieted down. Ning Fengji and Yu Yuanjin looked solemn. The two empires, of course. Ma Hongjun picked his nose. If even a carefree fellow like him could think of this, how could others not? Moreover, the conflict between the two empires and the martial spirit palace was not new. They had been fighting all this time, but they were in a situation where the three sides were in a temporary balance. That was why they had been holding back. The martial spirit palace's intention, or the Pope's intention, is obvious. A cold light flashed across Tang San's eyes. She wants the martial spirit palace to be above everything. The meeting room was silent. I believe that no force on the continent can resist the martial spirit palace. Tang San looked at Ning Fengji and Yu Yuanjin. Indeed, neither the two empires nor any sect could compete with the martial spirit palace. Half a year ago, that white Pope-tiff inspected the martial spirit palace on the continent, including the 7 sections. In fact, they already had this intention. Douluo shook his head and said, now that white Pope-tiff is dead, the martial spirit palace's plan is ruined. They may not do anything for the time being, but next time, it will be a tsunami-like attack. They won't give us any time to breathe. After all, they must know that the little crazy kid is still alive. Everyone looked at Wang Feng. Wang Feng and the martial spirit palace had a great feud when they were in the Pope's palace. Bibi Don found an excuse to stay, and then mobilized the 9-titled Dalu. But in the end, Wang Feng ruined it. So, we need to unite now. Tang San said, at least we can't let the martial spirit palace continue to be so arrogant. Ning Fengji nodded slightly and said, I agree. The martial spirit palace is very powerful. No force can go against them. Only by uniting will the martial spirit palace not dare to act recklessly. Yu Yuanjin pondered for a moment and said, if it was in the past, the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect would have remained neutral. But now I agree to unite. The 4 lower sects have become the martial spirit palace's claws and teeth. If it's us, the 3 upper sects will be destroyed sooner or later. These 2 sections, the 7-treasure glazed tile sect had at least 3,000 soul masters. The Blue Lightning Tyrant sect had more than 2,000 soul masters. They were the top forces on the continent. In other empires, it was not easy for any family to have more than 100 soul masters. If it's just the 2 sects, it won't be enough, Dai Mubai suddenly said. With the influence of the martial spirit palace, many principalities of the 2 empires have been infiltrated. I'm very clear about this. Dai Mubai was the crown prince of the Star Luo Empire. He naturally knew that many duchies and kingdoms in the Star Luo Empire were also dependent on the martial spirit palace. As long as the martial spirit palace raised its arm, these duchies and kingdoms would fall to the martial spirit palace's side. So, we still need to unite the 2 empires. Tang San looked at Douluo and said slowly, the Shrek Academy has many outstanding soul masters sent by the royal family. It's obvious that they're vigilant. On the Star Luo Empire's side, Mubai agrees. Zhu Qing is now in charge of the Star Luo Empire's #1 family. So, we have to unite with the Heaven Do Empire? That's simple. Ma Hongjun continued. We've always been close to the Heaven Do Empire. How easy is it to unite with them? They had this intention too. Tang San shook his head. It's not that simple. The Star Luo Empire and the Heaven Do Empire have always been at odds. It's too difficult to unite and deal with the martial spirit palace together. The grudges between the 2 empires couldn't be resolved so easily. It was already good enough that the 2 sects agreed to unite. That's right. Dai Mubai coughed a few times. Although I'm the crown prince of the Star Luo Empire, the Star Luo Empire is divided into many factions. It won't be easy for those stubborn fellows to unite with the Heaven Do Empire. Hearing this, Wang Fengxin thought, actually, it's not bad if the Douluo world can be unified. Wang Feng couldn't help but have that thought, but it felt too ridiculous. Now that he thought about it, it was still a little unrealistic. but Wang Feng vaguely felt that this could be a general direction. I remember Crown Prince Shueqinghe. Hasn't he always valued little three and captain? Oscar interrupted. He's the Crown Prince and Sect Master Ning's disciple. With his support, the Heaven Do Empire should be easier to deal with, right? Tang San and the others were stunned. Only then did they remember that Shueqinghe seemed to have this relationship with Ning Fengji. Chapter 642. The Crown Prince has treated the seven treasure glazed tile sect well. Ning Fengji said, after the seven treasures glazed fortress was destroyed by the martial spirit palace, the Crown Prince gave us a piece of land in a beautiful place outside the city to rebuild the seven treasures glazed fortress. Furthermore, the Snowy Night Emperor has already retired and the Crown Prince is in charge of many things. If he supports us, it will be easy. Wang Fengxin was shocked. The Qianren Xue has already reached this stage. The Snowy Night Emperor's retirement means that he is in charge. This means that the Qianren Xue doesn't need any help to become the emperor and control the entire Heaven Do Empire. Shueqinghe? At this moment, Douluo lightly shook his head. This Shueqinghe is no simple character. He has roped in Prince Shuexing and me. The Heaven Do Empire's imperial family listens to him. Wang Feng. The Qianren Xue has already reached this stage. Wang Feng remembered that Prince Shuexing was Shueqinghe's opponent. He supports Prince Shuebeng. He was the one who asked Prince Shuexing to ask me to step in. Douluo's eyes flashed. This person has great talent and vision. He might not agree to this. Douluo's high evaluation surprised Wang Feng. Wang Feng recalled how he met the Qianren Xue and felt that something was wrong. Do you know what Shueqinghe did after the White Popetiff humiliated the imperial family? Douluo smiled. After he returned, he reported this matter to the Heaven Do Imperial Academy and all the imperial family disciples, making them feel ashamed. He even led all the imperial family disciples into confinement for half a month as punishment. He will be out soon. At the same time, Shueqinghe also removed the Heaven Do Imperial Academy and all the other duchy's noble disciples. He set many rules for the Heaven Do Imperial Academy and changed the academy's internal structure 3 to 4 years ago. After that incident with White Popetiff, the younger generation of royal family disciples obeyed Shueqinghe's orders. Many Earth Trench officials also praised him greatly. The Snow Night Emperor admires him even more. It is precisely because of the matter with White Popetiff that the Snow Night Emperor has decided to set a date and pass the throne to her. But she's still pushing it away, saying that Shui can still be in office for a few more years and that there's no need to rush. But compared to Shui the Great's intention to pass on the throne, it's already hard to change her mind. Wang Feng. So, I was the one who made her successful? Wang Feng could not help but gasp. It seemed that Qianren Xue was just like her mother. She was not easy to deal with. Wang Feng had thought that he had humiliated the Heaven Do Empire's royal family that day. As the Crown Prince, if Shueqinghe did not handle this matter properly, he would lose the trust of the Crown Prince. He did not expect to be used by Qianren Xue. Later on, the throne was even more of a game of cat and mouse. Anyway, it could not run away. It seems that Bibi Dan has no intention of urging Qianren Xue to seize the throne because of the failure of the soul hunt. Instead, she allowed Qianren Xue to do what he wants, and the effect is better. Wang Fengxin could not help but secretly shake his head. Bibi Dan was probably not far from what he had guessed. She did not want to be in a hurry to unify the continent. In addition, the failure of the soul hunt had caused a series of chain reactions that led to the current situation. Wang Feng scratched his head. Should I instigate Qianren Xue to rebel? This idea popped up in Wang Feng's mind. It seemed that it was not impossible. Qianren Xue did not get along with her mother, but he should still have some feelings for the martial spirit palace, right? After all, the martial spirit palace served the angel god. Qianren Xue had the angel martial spirit, and his grandfather was the great elder of the martial spirit palace. It's too difficult. At this moment, a figure suddenly remembered. Brother Feng, what do you think? Everyone looked at Wang Feng, who was still in a daze. Wang Feng thought for a moment and said, "Alliance is necessary. But you said that the martial spirit palace wants to be above everything. To put it more accurately, the martial spirit palace wants to unify the continent." After finishing his words, the room became quiet again. How is this possible? Ma Hongjun was surprised. The martial spirit palace is not that ambitious, right? Why not? Wang Feng continued. More than 70% of the soul masters on the continent are directly related to the martial spirit palace. Their strength is distributed in every city of the two empires. They have at least tens of thousands of soul masters. They are not ordinary soldiers, but soul masters. Wang Feng did not mention the specific number. It would be more frightening if he said it out loud. Ma Hongjun was suddenly speechless. What kind of concept was tens of thousands of soul masters? A mouthful of saliva from each of them could kill him. What Lin Feng said is really possible. Ning Fengji thought with rapt attention. As the head of a sect, he was naturally more sensitive to the situation on the continent. Wild ambition. Yu Yuanjin could not help but shake his head. The others were also silent. In fact, there are two ways to solve the wild ambition of the martial spirit palace. Wang Feng coughed and said. Everyone immediately sat up straight and listened with their own ears. First, it's very simple. Wang Feng glanced at everyone. In fact, the martial spirit palace is not the only one with wild ambition, but one person. I think you all know this person. She is Pope Bibi Dawn. As long as we can catch her, or dispel her idea, or be ruthless and make her disappear, then everything will go back to the original track. Tang Sen nodded and said in a cold tone, "Without a leader, the martial spirit palace is unlikely to act like this without her. But it's too difficult. Of course it's difficult. She's inheriting the godhood now, and I can't even kill her." Wang Fengxin said, "Let alone catching her. It's harder than killing her. As for dispelling Bibidan's idea, it's more difficult than the first two. With Bibidan's will and mind, it's impossible to change her mind. It's good enough that she didn't change her mind." "What's the second way?" Tang Sen asked. "The second way," Wang Feng coughed a few times and said, "Doesn't Bibi Dawn want to unify the continent? She seems to be planning for some reason. We could be one step ahead of her and quietly unify the continent to deal with her. In this way, she won't fail, right?" Hearing this, everyone was petrified. How quick-witted. Then, everyone couldn't help but laugh. Wang Feng, this is even more ridiculous than the first way. Ning Rongrong couldn't help laughing. This is even more impossible. Even Ning Rongrong couldn't see it, let alone the others. Wang Feng said with a smile, "You may think it's impossible, but the general trend of the world is that long unity must be divided, and long division must be united. The two empires and the martial spirit palace have been fighting for a long time. In the end, the ones who will be hurt are the soul masters and more ordinary people, right? I think the unification of the continent is inevitable." You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.